scores. A two-run homer for Bobby Witt Jr.
Watch The Drive by subscribing on our YouTube channel or listen on demand with the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
This show is always going to stand on principles. Dippin' Dots are incredible. Red Lobster is the best restaurant that America has to offer. And baked beans are trash.
You're listening to Kansas City's FM sports station, 96.5 The Fan. Here's C-Dot.
Let's do this. Another day, another dollar, another edition of The Drive. You are listening to The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, 96.5thefan.com, and also the Odyssey app. My name is Carrington Harrison. Excited to be here with you. Robert Brenton is here with you as well. We are taking you up until 4:30 today as we will hand things over to Josh Vernier for another exciting tilt between the Royals and the Tigers. As much as I would love to give you guys new stats about the Royals offense, as much as I would love to have our dear friend Rob Brenton give you a new Royals lineup for the day, I just don't have it in me. I'm not saying that we won't talk about the Royals at any point today. I don't have another 2 o'clock open on the Kansas City Royals. You know what the problems are. I know what the problems are. The problems are not getting solved anytime soon. We are just screaming into the wind. And the weather is great outside. Spring is here. March Madness is just ended. The Masters is just ended. I had a great NBA playoff experience yesterday. I don't want to come in here and just beat on the Royals for the next 10 minutes. I don't have any interest in doing that. So if that's what you expected, I'm sorry to tell you, we're going to start with the Kansas City Chiefs. We're going to start with these mock drafts. We are less than 10 days away until we will have definitively the answer of what the Chiefs are going to do with the 9th and 29th overall pick. But I can't give you another stat right now why this team can't score. We could be here all day talking about their lack of scoring. Let me tell you guys, though, that today is a fantastic day to go stop by and see our friends over at the other place. They're having daily lunch specials Monday through Friday, 11 and 3 o'clock, so you still got some time. You got 12 items for just $8.99, so go get yourself a burger, a salad, a pasta, a sandwich, all of those things. I need you listening each day to the show at 2 o'clock. I need you to tell one friend about the show and go check out our friends over at the other place. All right, this is where I would like to start in today's show. I'm not a huge mock draft guy. If you're a big mock draft individual, that's perfectly fine. But I don't have 70, 80 days of looking at the mock drafts. But I will admit, once we get close to the draft, I start to pay attention a little bit. You know, the people that do this, they've been making their phone calls. They've been sitting down. They've been talking to general managers. There are no more pro days. There are no more workouts. All of the information is there. So to me, this is when you start to get a more accurate depiction of who is going to go where. Well, what if I told you right now that 3 of the top draft people all have the Chiefs taking the exact same prospect? Let's start with Mel Kiper, the godfather of the NFL draft. One of the major reasons why the draft is talked about the way that it is and covered the way that it is Mel Kiper Jr. He has the Chiefs taking Jordan Tyson with the 9th overall pick. Here's what he said. We can't ignore Jordan Tyson's durability concerns, considering he missed a third of the possible college games because of the injury. But we also can't ignore his fantastic skill set when he's on the field. He makes tough catches in traffic, had 700 yards last year. I'm already picturing Mahomes buying time in the pocket and firing 50-50 balls to Jordan Tyson in the end zone. Now, you can say a lot of things about the Chiefs wide receivers. Ability to win 50-50 balls is not really something I would say about the Chiefs receivers. Now, I'll continue to tell you what draft pundits are saying about the Chiefs and how they've been linked to Jordan Tyson. 3 different people, Mel Kiper, Todd McShay, and Peter Schrager. Peter Schrager, who is as close to Brett Veach as any media member, all have the Chiefs taking Jordan Tyson. Carnell Tate, I do believe, is going to be off the board at number 9. I do think that wide receiver is a major concern for the Kansas City Chiefs. These people are starting to connect the dots and starting to project that Jordan Tyson could be the next member of the Kansas City Chiefs. Can I read to you guys the weaknesses for Jordan Tyson? Because I like Jordan Tyson as a prospect. If they take Jordan Tyson, I would not be upset. I also think that Jordan Tyson is a different kind of prospect than what they have. One of my frustrations about the Chiefs offense is they have a lot of the same types of receivers. They don't really have a bigger, more physical receiver, a go up and get it type, a guy who can win those 50-50 balls. Jordan Tyson, 6'2", over 200 pounds, big, not durable, but a big receiver. I am intrigued by the prospect. He also put together a pretty dynamic college football season. A couple of years ago, 75 catches, 1,100 yards, 10 touchdowns. Last year, even fighting through the injury, 60 catches, 700 yards, and 8 touchdowns. He put up high-level production at a major conference. He interests me in a lot of ways, but I like to go on NFL.com and I like to read their draft profiles. Now, I think the strengths are there. Here it is on NFL.com. Ability to play receiver on all spots of the field, run smooth routes, manipulates to create leverage. There's a lot of things that I'm excited about. Also was coached by Hines Ward at Arizona State. I do think that Jordan Tyson is going to come in and be a lot further along than the young receivers that the Chiefs have had over the last couple of years. Rob, can I read to you what some of the weaknesses are? Because some of these weaknesses sound like weaknesses they already have. We talk a lot about how the NFL draft is a dice roll. It's a crapshoot. I would say that Jordan Tyson is a significant crapshoot, a significant dice roll from a physical standpoint. Listen to what they have as his weaknesses. Focus drops were an issue for him in college. Can be impatient and hurry his routes at times. Missed games in every season that he played college football. He suffered a knee injury, collarbone injury, and hamstring injury. Oh, boy. If the Chiefs draft Jordan Tyson, I will not be upset if that's what they do. I think that Jordan Tyson is the second best receiver in this year's NFL draft class. Number one, I think, is Carnell Tate. Number two is Jordan Tyson. I would have Mekhi Lemon, the wide receiver out of USC, at number three. So getting the second best receiver in the draft class is not bad. But boy, if you draft Jordan Tyson, you are taking such a gamble with his health, with his medicals, trusting your training staff to keep him healthy. He was hurt at every single turn in college, and that usually doesn't improve itself once you get to the next level, once you play more college football games, and once you have more travel, more wear and tear, and you're playing against bigger, stronger, more physical players. The injury concerns that you had in 22 with the knee, and in 24 with the collarbone, and in 25 with the hamstring, I think they continue to plague you into your NFL career. I find it hard to believe that you can deal with injuries basically your entire college football career, get to the National Football League, and then you're a clean bill of health. So if Jordan Tyson deals with injuries in his NFL career, there cannot be a single soul that can say, well, we couldn't see this coming, because all of the signs are there that this is a chance that it is going to be a part of his NFL future. Let me read to you guys what Todd McShay had to say, and I'll play what Peter Schrager had to say. I've been getting a lot of questions from teams about Jordan Tyson and where he might land, which is typically my biggest indicator that a player is going to go earlier than people expect. The long-term questions are about his knee aren't a big concern in Kansas City as they may be elsewhere, as the Chiefs are looking to win now with Patrick Mahomes. A healthy Tyson is arguably the best wide receiver in this class. He's a 6'2+ target who consistently separates and is a reliable option, traits that Mahomes desperately needs at the position. Rob, I think the question with Jordan Tyson is very, very clear. He is by far and away the best wide receiver prospect that they will have drafted during the Patrick Mahomes era, if that's the direction that they tend to go. I also believe that he is going to be there at number 9. Now, mock drafts are wrong pretty routinely, but we haven't really seen a mock draft that has Jordan Tyson going with the 6th overall pick. So I do think that Tyson will be available at 9, and if the Chiefs want to go pick up Jordan Tyson, they are not going to have to move up to go get him. They will have all of the opportunities to select him with the 9th overall pick. Do the pros that he appears to have being a bigger, more physical receiver who can create that separation, who is reliable, do the pros for Jordan Tyson outweigh what appear to be the very obvious and clear cons that come with Jordan Tyson? He is an extremely banged up player. And do you trust Rick Burkholder? Do you trust your staff? Do you trust your organization's ability to keep him healthy and keep him on the field for, I would say, 12 plus times a year? Because that has not been the case, and he did not show you that in college. So I like Jordan Tyson as a prospect. I think there's a lot of things to like about him, but you cannot deny that there are certain and very clear negatives that are also attached to him as a prospect. If that is a decision that you are going to make, if that's the road that you're going to want to go down, if you're going to want to draft Jordan Tyson with the 9th overall pick. Let me play for you what Peter Schrager had to say. He was on the Pat McAfee show, and he called Jordan Tyson the most polarizing player in this year's draft class.
First week in April, we drop it. It's kind of like we're just putting it out there in the ether. And I get texts and responses from all the different executives around the league. They say, hey, this guy's too high. We would never draft that guy. What about this guy? And they help use that and the conversations that we've had at the combine and the league meetings and on my phone for the last several months into making the most accurate and the most closest to the pin mock draft right up until the actual draft. And I would say a couple things this week from this one here. Number one, Jordan Tyson going 9th to the Chiefs. The most polarizing pick in this draft. When I tell you I got a text from a GM who says, I am not sure Tyson even goes top 20. And then I had another text from a GM saying, wow, you think he drops all the way to 9? So you're talking about a guy who has a wide-ranging barometer of where other teams think he's going to go. I put him in Kansas City, and I do so because I believe Andy Reid and Brett Veach have shown a tendency to say, let everyone else worry about guys' health issues and guys off the field, whatever you might have concerns, their desires, all this stuff. Put them in our building. We will get the best players, and we will make the most of them.
So that is Peter Schrager talking about Jordan Tyson. A lot of you are making the Sammy Watkins comparisons to Jordan Tyson. Why don't we dive into that a little bit more coming up on the other side? How fair of a comparison is that? And I would also argue, if Jordan Tyson gave you the same production that Sammy Watkins had under his rookie contract, I don't know if that's the worst thing that could possibly happen. We'll do that next. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on Kansas City's only FM sports station, 96.5, The Fan.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I own a coffee shop, and I wanted to label everything with our logo.
That's ambitious.
Cups, boxes, bags.
Ooh, that'll add up.
Not at all. Because right now, Staples Prints custom labels are 30% off.
30% off? That's shockingly affordable branding.
Yep. Now our logo and URL are seen all over town.
Brand your business for less at Staples.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in-store, online, or in the app by 4/18 to unlock. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Getting a little older doesn't have to mean, well, getting older. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you're feeling low energy, can't sleep, can't lose weight, are struggling with brain fog, or your sex drive is off, it's time to change it up. At Heartland Men's Health, our advanced medical strategies featuring TRT, GH peptides, NAD+, GLP-1s, PDA, and more treat low T and other hormonal issues to help you shed pounds, have more energy, enhance your body composition, improve sleep, increase your sex drive, and so much more, getting you back in the game again. So don't be older. Be stronger in the gym. Be sharper at work. Be better in the bedroom, and be more confident in every part of your life. So call us today and find out how our advanced treatment strategies could change the game for you. Your first visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on one of our advanced treatment plans on the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
Feature therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
This is the story of the one.
As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If the high cost of filling up is weighing you down, lighten your load at Hy-Vee. This Saturday and Sunday, get a 30-cent per gallon fuel discount with every $60 purchase. Stock up on groceries and stack up the fuel savings. Earn 30 cents per gallon with your $60 purchase. 60 cents per gallon with a $120 purchase. The more you spend, the more you'll save. Your next fill-up could be free. Don't miss the 2-day Fuel Saver event this weekend only at Hy-Vee.
With 2 kids in 4 sports, sometimes we don't even have time to eat, and that means sometimes we can't get to the store. That's when Hy-Vee saves the day. We love ordering our groceries online and having them delivered. It saves us so much time, and it's easy. Just download the app or go to Hy-Vee.com. Choose your store, select your items, and Hy-Vee does all the shopping. All I have to do is pick up my order or have it delivered to my home, which is free, by the way, with my Perks Plus membership. Save time, save money. What could be better? Only at Hy-Vee.
Draft Spotlights are brought to you by Liberty Mutual. Only pay for what you need. I think Jeremiah Love might be the most talented player in this entire 2026 draft. When I watch him at Notre Dame, in any game over the last 2 years, he's the best player in the field, averaging almost 7 yards a carry, and he's a great receiver, catching almost 60 passes in the last 2 years. I could see Jeremiah Love going as early as to that team in Arizona at 3, to that team in Nashville at 4, or maybe that team in New York at 5.
And Doug.
There's nowhere I wouldn't go to help someone customize and save on car insurance with Liberty Mutual, even if it means playing in a football game.
Boom! 42! You're going down, Doug!
Oh, yeah? Your price on car insurance when you customize and save is going down.
Hey!
Limu? What are you doing on their team? Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Hey, what's up, flies? This is David Spade.
Dana Carvey.
Look, I know we never actually left, but I'll just say it. We are back with another season of Fly on the Wall.
Every episode, including ones with guests, will now be on video. Every Thursday, you'll hear us and see us chatting with big-name celebrities.
And every Monday, you're stuck with just me and Dana. We react to news, what's trending, viral clips.
Follow and listen to Fly on the Wall everywhere you get your podcasts.
Odyssey Sports Draft coverage is presented nationally by Bet365, where winning is everything. Download the Bet365 app and lock in your picks before the game begins. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in select states only. You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Hey, it's Chris Jones from the Kansas City Chiefs. Welcome back to The Drive with C-Dot on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
All right, Rob. This is the list that I want to compose, and I understand that this is going to be a flawed exercise, and I understand that the text line is a conglomeration of individuals. It is not a monolith. I understand that. We agree that Reuben Bain, we agree would be applauded by the text line. I think we agree there. And we also agree that Carnell Tate would be approved by the text line. I would like to hear the list of people who would be approved by the text line, because I'm reading it right now, and the text line does not sound very excited about them going out to get Jordan Tyson. And I understand why you would have some hesitation. So right now on the no list, I have Jordan Tyson. I have any offensive lineman with the 9th overall pick. And I would also say that Mansour Delane, the corner out of LSU, would also be on a lot of people's no list. I would be very interested, text line, if you would be so kind, 913-586-7965, to tell me who you would put on the yes, we think this person would be well received if the Chiefs went out there and drafted that individual with the 9th overall pick. I would like to hear that list. I know that Bain is on there. Please do not text me Ruben Bain. Please do not text me Carnell Tate. I want names other than those two individuals.
Are you sure Bain's on the list?
I do think that Bain would be well received.
I think it'd be well received.
D lineman played well in the playoffs. People deem that to be their biggest position of need. He would likely be the best pass rusher that is available on the board. That would be taking a big swing at it, absolutely. Now, yes, he is not a perfect prospect.
I think there'd be pushback if he got drafted. Maybe the overwhelming majority would still be excited, but I think you'd see some people talking about the baby arms and the gap in production, because there was a point in the middle of the season, I'm saying this is someone who wants Ruben Bain, that when he started playing the rum-dums of the ACC, he kind of switched off. That's what his stats look like. So I think it'd be well received, but I don't think it's 100-0 celebration. I think it'd be like 75-25 celebration for Ruben Bain.
So right now I'm seeing a few people say Caleb Downs would be on this list. I'm happy to put Caleb Downs on this list. I want to see some more people throw that name out there. I mean, I personally find it hard where a lot of the argument to me about right tackle was about positional value, and now we're arguing to take a safety with the 9th overall pick. Like, I've got my questions about that idea. I mean, I wouldn't be torn up if they went to go get Caleb Downs, but I feel like a lot of the arguments that people have against them making the move at offensive line at right tackle, they are now contradicting themselves of, yes, we don't think that right tackle is as important, but we do think that safety is as important, which then I would say, why would you be cool with them taking Caleb Downs but not be fine with them taking Mansour Delane when corner is a more valuable position than safety? It's a lot of questions I have about Caleb Downs, at least from a positional value standpoint.
I also don't think Caleb... It's fine the text line can say that. He might be the best player in the draft. I don't know he'd be well received. He is a smaller player.
I actually do think he would be well received. I do think he would be.
I think because of the positional value, and he's not Kyle Hamilton. He's not 6'4", 225. He's a smaller guy. And I just watched Trent McDuffie, an all-pro, get dinged up and down by Chiefs Kingdom for being too small on the outside. I don't know if they would turn around and like a smaller safety.
I don't know if that's the case, just because I do think the Chiefs fans like Tyrann Mathieu. Now, it was great those first 2 years. So
he was also way more established when he was...
I will say, if you were telling me that Caleb Downs, who is a smaller individual, but Caleb Downs is going to be their version of Tyrann Mathieu, and you're going to have their defensive coordinator move Caleb Downs all around the board and be a Swiss Army knife, and he is going to be a linchpin for their defense for the next 10 years. I don't think that's the worst idea. Now, a lot of it is going to stem from, if he ends up being the player that you think he can be, are the Chiefs prepared to then pay him accordingly? And I don't know if they're showing that ability to pay him. Like, if he becomes genuinely the best safety in the NFL, are they prepared to pay him like the best safety in the NFL? But I've never doubted Caleb Downs as a football player and how good of a player I think he is.
I think he's the best player in this draft, period. But I just, maybe I'm not far enough removed from the text line and Chiefs fans telling me Trent McDuffie is expendable and he's small, so he's only a slot corner, when Caleb Downs is just as small, if not smaller, than Trent McDuffie, while playing a less valuable position. That just, it sticks in my brain a little bit when I talk about Caleb Downs.
I am surprised at how many people are throwing out the name Kenyon Sadiq as someone they would be all for. I've told you guys this during this entire process. I don't understand it. I don't see what I'm supposed to see with Kenyon Sadiq. I don't understand it. If you were telling me that he is some physical marvel and some physical freak, you have to explain to me how he had 890 yards in college. Not last season. I'm saying his entire time at the University of Oregon, he had 892 yards and 11 touchdowns in 3 seasons of playing major college football. You have to explain to me how he is good enough to be a top 10 pick, how physically he jumps off the screen. He was healthy. It's not like we're talking about a guy that was banged up. He played in 14 games in 2024. He played in 14 games last season. You got to explain to me how that guy had less than 900 yards. You can't tell me it's quarterback play. You can't tell me he didn't go to a good enough school. You can't tell me he wasn't a good enough offense. None of us feel that way about Oregon. And I'm happy we got Matt Miller coming on the show in less than an hour. I would love for somebody to explain to me how Kenyon Sadiq is good enough to be the 9th overall pick in the draft, but wasn't good enough to get a single award in college and wasn't good enough to have 600 yards receiving in a college football season for a team that made the college football playoff in back-to-back years.
And a team that had what
some thought might be the number 1 overall pick at quarterback. If Dante Moore was in this draft, I think we would have a legit conversation of Moore up against Mendoza. But that guy at Oregon just couldn't get past 700 yards. Just never could do it. I would be anti-Kenyon Sadiq. I'm surprised the text line is saying Kenyon Sadiq. That is very, very confusing to me. A name that I've seen pop up that I know for a fact I'd hate, but I'm curious your thoughts. Would you like Sonny Styles? Because you know how I feel. You don't have to waste. Don't have to waste the airspace with me telling you.
I would not draft him.
Okay.
No. For the same reasons you would not draft him. That's not a position I would spend with the 9th overall pick. I'd much rather them draft Mekhi Lemon if that's what they're going to do. I'd much rather them just draft a higher positional value if that's the case. Someone sent this in. CDOT, I think that Caleb Downs is going to be Earl Thomas, but I don't think any of the tackle prospects are going to be Trent Williams. If the league truly feels like Caleb Downs is going to be Earl Thomas, he should go with the number 2 overall pick. He's been the number 2 overall pick. The Jets should draft him if that's who they think he is.
Or 3. If you have Bailey as a can't-miss pass rusher, that's fine, but he should be top 5.
Okay, that's fair. But I'm saying is if the league feels that way, if they feel like Caleb Downs is the next Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor, he should be the 3rd overall pick in this year's draft class. This is not a great draft class. The fact that I would say there are more candidates with the Chiefs picking at 9. Remember how excited everybody was to have a top 10 pick? Oh, they're going to take this big swing. There are more players that I would say people would be unhappy with them taking than players they would be happy with them taking with the 9th overall pick. That is indicative of how people feel about this year's draft class. Yes, we all would love David Bailey. David Bailey is not going to be there at 9 unless they're planning on trading up. Jeremiah Love is a fantastic prospect. They are not drafting Jeremiah Love. If we are going by, I would say we have a very realistic grouping of about 5 to 7 players that they can draft. There's about 5 to 7 guys that I think are in contention of being the 9th overall pick. So we're talking about a Mekhi Lemon. We're talking about Jordan Tyson, Caleb Downs. There is a list of about 7 players. I think there's more players that people would have on their no list than their yes list. And especially, let's say that Bain's off the board and Tate is off the board. I think more people would be on the side of trading down than making a selection with the 9th overall pick.
That's interesting. I don't know Chiefs fans would be happy trading back. I can't picture a scenario where Chiefs fans are happy trading back. I can picture a scenario where I'm happy trading back, or where the pundits, the Todd McShays, the Matt Millers, Mel Kiper, who's on ESPN and NFL.com, says that was a smart move by the Chiefs. I don't know I can picture a scenario where the Chiefs trade out of 9 and, a fan in section 321 is celebrating they move back. I don't know move back is also something that would be. I think the Chiefs are kind of in a no-win when it comes to the fan base because the 2 or 3 players everyone wants are probably off the board by the time the Chiefs come to pick. And I don't know moving back is going to be celebrated the way you would think it could be.
Yeah, someone on the text line says, CDOT, do you think that NFL teams are supposed to draft players based on future potential or college stats because it can't be both? I think that is a very fair question, but I would say there are very few examples of mediocre college players who are then very high selections in the NFL draft. We are having this conversation because of where the Chiefs are selecting. If we were talking about Kenyon Sadiq as a 2nd-round draft pick, I wouldn't be looking at it through a fine-tooth comb because of it. If they were talking about on the back half of the 1st round, we're going to flip a coin, so to speak, because we're at 29 and we're going to take this prospect, then we'd be having a different conversation. We're talking about with the 9th overall pick. To put it into perspective, Kenyon Sadiq, he had fewer yards receiving than Travis Kelce had in college. And Kelce got kicked off the team and changed positions while he was at Cincinnati. Think about that. Travis Kelce's last year was better than any season that Kenyon Sadiq had, and he was a 3rd-round pick. Kenyon Sadiq just, for somebody they're telling me that just blows you away with the physicals, why did it not show up on Saturdays? And if it never really showed up on Saturdays, why do I now think that it's going to show up on Sundays? You weren't balling out against random teams in the Big Ten. You weren't balling out in September when you're playing nobody state. You're at Oregon. You definitely had 3 or 4 games against some nobodies where you can just out-talent everybody. You weren't balling in those games. Now I'm supposed to think you're supposed to ball in the National Football League as the 9th overall pick. That's why I'm saying I got my questions.
I mean, the Kenyon Sadiq love, we see this every year. There's always a player every year. Actually, you know who was the player? Dontari Poe's
I was
player.
going to say, that's exactly what this sounds. This sounds like Dontari Poe, the offensive version to me.
It's just, look how good he looked at the combine. Don't look at his stats, but look how good he was at the combine.
Kenyon Sadiq never had a 100-yard receiving day. Never. We could look this up. When was the last time that we think a pass-catching player never had a 1,000-yard passing game or receiving game in college and still was a top 10 pick in the NFL draft?
Without injury. You'd have to like give a caveat.
I'd still love to look it up. We can look it up. The last 10 drafts. I'm not talking about a running back. I'm talking about when was the last time that a wide receiver or a tight end was drafted in the top 10 and never had a 100-yard receiving day. Rob, his two best days in college were against Minnesota and Rutgers. He went to Oregon. They play a lot of big games, right? They play a lot of big games. He never showed up in any of those big games on the road. Remember that great game they played on the road against Penn State? Remember that was the whiteout game they went on the road? He had 49 yards in that game. They went on the road to Michigan. He had 32 yards in that game. In the conference championship against Penn State, he had 30 yards receiving. He never put up good numbers against a team that people respect. He's now good enough to be the 9th overall pick. I just don't understand.
Yeah, the Kenyon Sadiq love makes literally no sense. Like none. Zip, zilch, nada.
I don't get it. That's my thoughts. I just don't get it. I don't understand. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Text line 913-586-7965. Someone on the text line says, CDOT, I wouldn't put much stock into college stats. Myles Garrett never had more than 4.5 sacks in the season. Am I the only one that has Google? That's not true. I don't know. I feel like the text line believes things that's not true. Myles Garrett, as a true freshman at Texas A&M, had 11.5 sacks, had 12.5 sacks as a sophomore, and had 8.5 sacks as a junior, and then was the first overall pick. What are we talking about here? I don't know why Google is available. I just don't understand. Rob, remember that time that people thought Alex Smith was left-handed? We watched him play. Why do people think this? I don't know why we share misinformation. We got to quit that. Fake news. I dare anybody, show me the last pass catcher who was drafted in the top 10 that didn't have 100 yards receiving in a single game in college football. I think you are going to struggle to find who that individual is. I don't know if it exists.
I'm like sitting back here trying to rack my brain about, I'm trying to think, how did Justin Jefferson maybe do was my thought, because they had Jamar Chase, but then Joe Burrow was that team's quarterback, so he probably was balling out.
Justin Jefferson definitely had some 100-yard days when he was at LSU. For sure he had those.
And even if he didn't, it's because Jamar Chase
just for example, Justin Jefferson's last year in college, he led college football in catches and had 1,500 yards and 18 touchdowns. I find it hard to believe that you can put up those numbers in college and then not have 100 yards receiving in a game. I find it very difficult to believe that that's the case.
Does seem like the two things can't work in unison.
No, it seems very, very difficult in order for you to be able to do all those things. So I'm very, very excited. We are going to have Matt Miller on the show. He is one of the absolute best draft people in the National Football League. He is going to be on the show in the 3 o'clock hour. We will get his thoughts on all of these things. Field Yates used to be friend of the show, and then he I don't know, he fell off. He's not friend of the show anymore, but I still like Field Yates a lot. He was on Fesco and Dusty earlier, and he said that he would not rule out offensive tackle with the 9th overall pick.
I wouldn't totally rule out offensive line as an option at number 9 for this reason. First of all, the obvious one, Patrick Mahomes coming off of a major knee injury, torn ACL. Hopefully he's ready for the start of the season. But either way, it underscores the need to keep the most valuable player to the franchise as healthy as humanly possible. On top of that, guys, Jalen Moore, who we'll see how he performs this upcoming season, is going to be a free agent after this year. And the reality for the Chiefs at number 9 is this. They don't plan, and I don't forecast them to be picking this high again anytime soon. So I mention that because if the best player available fills more of an intermediate or long-term need as opposed to a short-term need, I think you have to be responsible and consider number 9 at a position that isn't necessarily going to be a day one starter for 2026. It's probably not what fans want to hear, but I think part of the draft is being mindful that if you're taking a player who's somewhere between 21 and 23 years old, the idea that you can get a decade out of this player, don't be so married to just what he represents for the upcoming season.
That was Field Yates talking about the possibility that the Chiefs could take an offensive tackle with the 9th overall pick. Here is Peter Schrager, who said that he's not sure on Josh Simmons or the offensive tackle depth for the Chiefs.
We know that this is a position that they've invested in a bunch, and they have hit with a bunch of them in Creed Humphrey and, of course, with Trey Smith. But I'm not sure on Josh Simmons, their pick from a year ago, and I'm not sure they have the depth. So Caleb Lomu, who is not as famous or as well regarded as Spencer Fano, his teammate, I think he also goes first round. He goes 29th here to the Kansas City Chiefs.
So that was Peter Schrager talking about Josh Simmons and the offensive tackle depth for Kansas City. I think people are reading a lot into the Peter Schrager comments solely because of his relationship with Brett Veach. I mean, I told you guys, I'm not sure on Josh Simmons the way that everybody else is. I'm not saying that Josh Simmons is not a good prospect. He just didn't play a lot of football last year. Now, I hope we're not in having the conversation of the Chiefs need to figure out what left tackle is going to be. No, Josh Simmons is your left tackle. Let's hope that his personal life, everything is all above board. Let's hope that you can keep him healthy this year and keep him on the field, and we get a full 17-game slate to be able to evaluate him. But I think a lot of people, Rob, are overvaluing these comments because of the perceived relationship between Peter Schrager and Brett Veach, and I find it hard to believe. The Chiefs they have not moved in a way that makes me think they are actually concerned about Josh Simmons at left tackle. They have not really made a move that would suggest that they are overly concerned with Josh Simmons at left tackle.
I'm not per se disagreeing with you, but when you combine those comments with a top 30 visit for Alabama left tackle Caden Proctor, who, by the way, only played left tackle in his time at Alabama, and the report earlier today that Mike Garafolo had saying the Chiefs have, quote, spent extended time with Georgia offensive tackle Monroe Freeling, who exclusively played at Georgia, left tackle. So now you have multiple reports the Chiefs are connected to full-time SEC left tackles, and then you hear what Peter Schrager says. It might be a wisp of smoke. It might be all fake smoke. But when you use a top 30 visit on a left tackle, Peter Schrager says that, and Mike Garafolo says you're doing extensive research on a different left tackle, people start to wonder, what's at play here? Because those are three things that don't seem to work in unison. If they have all the faith in the world in Joshua Simmons, why did Caden Proctor come in for a visit? Why are they doing extensive research on another left tackle? There are right tackles in this draft that are naturally positioned. Why are they connected or sniffing around any left one? That's why I think people are making a little bit of a jump to conclusion.
But I think that's a very answerable question for Kansas City. We would then consider moving that guy over to right tackle, and the Chiefs would do something very similar to what we saw the Chargers do. The Chargers spent 2 very high draft picks on offensive tackles. You play left tackle in college, but you have the ability to be over there and flip over to the other side. So we just have the conversation with you. How do you feel about this? How comfortable would you feel doing this? I think we put a lot of stock in these top 30 visits. I think we put a lot of stock into them. And I'm not saying that, they're probably going to draft some of these guys. But I also think it's important to know when we talk about these visits, either they're going to be on your team or you're going to have to go against them in the very near future in the National Football League. Or what we see happen a lot of times, Rob, is something doesn't work out. You're now available for a trade. You maybe didn't work out in one spot. So now we want to bring you in here, and we've already done the work and we've already done the research, and now we can bring you in. We see that happen all the time in the National Football League. So I certainly get why people are making the one-to-one connection. The draft is coming up. You're bringing this player in for the draft. But I'm imagining they bring in 25, 30 different players on these top 30 visits. You then bring some other people in on some informal. You're having conversations. It's part of the process. This is part of your due diligence of crossing your I's, dotting your T's, scouting ahead to learn what a player's strengths and weaknesses are for a guy you might go up against, a guy who could be a free agent down the line. Now you check your notes. We like this about him. We didn't like this about him. Let's bring him in for a workout. I just think that the purpose of these visits are not a one-to-one of it guarantees that they are about to draft you coming up here in a couple of days. I'm not necessarily sure if that's the case.
I agree that it's probably due diligence, and I'm just stating the devil's advocate thing here because I have a list of what people are reporting. They have compiled a list of the Chiefs' top 30 visits. It's wide receivers, tight ends, defensive tackles, edge rushers, corners, and linebackers. And then there's one outlier, left tackle Caden Proctor. So I agree with you. You do your due diligence. You use your top 30 visits on positions of need in the top 30. It's just Caden Proctor stands out like he's a little bit fish out of water in this group because I can see the Chiefs taking a defensive tackle. That makes sense to me. Make Tonga a rotational guy. Norman Last coming off an injury. They don't really have linebackers on the roster outside of Nick Bolton right now and Drew Tranquil. Corner we've talked about. Edge we've talked about. Wide receiver we've talked about. One position is on this list of top 30 visits that just stands out to me. So I think combine that with Peter Schrager's proximity to Brett Veach and people start to leap to conclusions.
Coming up in the 3 o'clock hour, we're going to be joined by Matt Miller, one of the best NFL draft analysts that is out there. Keep it locked in right here. It's The Drive on 96.5 The Fan.
Tune in to hear the Hall of Fame voice of the Royals, Denny Matthews.
There's a high fly ball, deep left center. Back goes Ward to the wall. Gone. Bobby Witt Jr.
Every Monday at 3, right here on your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
Call Hamilton today for our $79 mainline drain cleaning special. The pros at Hamilton will inspect your drains with video camera technology to pinpoint exactly what is needed to clear those clogs and help prevent expensive drain repairs. The expert technicians at Hamilton are ready 7 days a week to solve your problem the right way, the first time. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 5-star reviews are great reasons to trust Hamilton. Visit callhamilton.com/radio for details, terms, and conditions.
License number 2025-11121.
Hello, Kansas City. Bank of America, in partnership with Visa, invites you to a FIFA World Cup 26 watch party. Open an eligible Bank of America checking account in participating financial centers only for an opportunity to reserve 2 complimentary tickets while supplies last. Experience special musical guests, games, giveaways, food, and more, all at a legendary venue. Learn more at BofA.com/BofA Visa Watch Party. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America, proud to be the official bank of FIFA World Cup 26. Bank of America and a member FDIC. Terms apply. All rights reserved.
Get ready, Kansas City! Harris is giving you the chance to drive away in a brand new 2025 Ford Bronco Big Bend. Earn entries now through May 2nd just by playing your favorite games. Want even better odds? Every Tuesday in April, score double entries to boost your chances. Then join us May 2nd for the big drawing. Adventure is calling. Will you answer? Only at Harris, Kansas City. 21 or older to gamble. Know when to stop before you start. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
JR and Company, the only roofing company offering a free lifetime warranty on workmanship and a free shingle upgrade that can save thousands in future insurance premiums. Locally owned, veteran owned, and family owned. Call JR today or visit jrstormcheck.com.
You know that weird smell your AC makes when you turn it on? Ooh, you really shouldn't. Luckily, you can just take it to Telly. Schedule your service at tellytire.com.
Hi, I'm Carter. And I'm Charlie. We'd like to share a quick story about a homeowner named Jack. Jack had a home he needed to sell fast. And Jack thought he had it all figured out. So Jack talked to multiple cash buyers. Jack chose the highest offer. But the day before closing, guess what? The buyer backed out, leaving Jack with the moving truck all packed in the driveway and not sure what to do. Jack learned the hard way that the highest offer isn't always the right offer. Jack got suckered. Make sure you aren't hung out to dry. Call our dad at Rex Buys KC. Our dad is local, he knows Kansas City, and he actually closes deals. No repairs, no fees, no showings, no surprises. Just a fair cash offer and a smooth process. Now, don't be like Jack. Call 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com. Rex Buys KC, helping people make smart choices one home at a time.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Dell PCs with Intel inside are built for the moments you plan, and the ones you don't. For the time you forgot your charger at the gate,
passengers, we are now on our initial ascent.
Or when you're bouncing between projects like a ping pong ball. We build PCs with long-lasting battery life, so you're not scrambling for an outlet. And built-in intelligence, so you can stay focused on whatever you're doing. Dell Technologies, built for you. Dell.com/Dell PCs.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This afternoon, expect possible showers and thunderstorms with a high of 81.
Weather brought to you by Duke's Mayo. Welcome to Duke's Mayo Country, where the mayo is so smooth and creamy, it makes every bite better. Duke's Mayo. Look for the yellow lid.
Yesterday was such a banner day for the National Basketball Association. Miami and Charlotte game had a little bit of controversy with LaMelo Ball and Bam Adebayo. Let me actually re-say that. LaMelo Ball and Bam Wilt Chamberlain Adebayo. It was a city that is not used to a lot of playoff success. The building was rocking. We had a last-second buzzer beater type shot with a block on the other end. The game went into overtime. A phenomenal contest. I wish that we had the ability to watch all of it, but the stream on Amazon Prime yesterday had technical difficulties in a one-possession game in overtime in which the loser is eliminated from the NBA playoffs. Now, if you will allow me to stand on my soapbox for just a bit, this is why we hate streaming. Why couldn't this have been on regular ESPN? Why couldn't the play-in games be on a regular NBC? What is NBC showing on Tuesday night that is better content than an NBA playoff game? But no, Amazon's got to come in with the bajillion dollars and monopolize the NBA playoffs. Well, if that's the case, can you make sure that it works? For us to have a technical difficulties screen pop up in the middle of it, your first NBA playoff game is embarrassing. For the audio and the video to not be synced up is embarrassing for Amazon Prime. And now, you can fade the NBA music out. We can move on from the NBA. I don't know if you guys read this story or not, but that's why I'm here. The NFL, they're mad about how much money NBC played the NBA, so now they want to renegotiate the Sunday Night Football deal. And they're saying, if you don't give us what we want, then we're going to take Sunday Night Football to Netflix. None of us want that. I don't want Sunday Night Football on Netflix. You don't want Sunday Night Football on Netflix. Netflix already costs $22 a month. What is it going to cost if they start to get the biggest NFL game of the week every week? 40 bones? That's how much it's going to cost to watch Sunday Night Football? This streaming stuff, it's really bad for us. I know we all got smart TVs now and 100 million people have access to Amazon Prime. I've been telling you guys this from day one. The streaming wars and now them having live sporting events, ultimately, this is bad for us. This is not what we want. They are going to continue to dig themselves deeper and deeper. The NBA, the Eastern Conference Finals this year are going to be presented by Amazon Prime. The conference finals. It's one thing when you were doing the NBA Cup. It's one thing you're doing the play-in games. The Eastern Conference Finals are only going to be available through Amazon Prime. Oh my goodness, this is not what I want. What can I do? You know, I feel like Casey Tennant. I feel like the Missouri Workers Center. They're going to be on the show at 4 o'clock. I'm screaming, no, we don't want this downtown stadium. They're building the downtown stadium anyway. I'm screaming, no, we don't want streaming. It doesn't matter. They're going to do it anyway. Everything's streaming now. WrestleMania is streaming. College football. Everything that we love is now going to be exclusive to these streaming channels. It's just the worst. It's the absolute worst. That's my NBA minute for today.
I saw the NFL is getting sued for having too many games and across all the platforms. I'm betting the NFL wins in court, but isn't this what we accidentally signed up for when people like me and you complained about cable? 10 years ago, I don't know about you in particular, but people our age, we were, screaming and shouting. We hated cable. It was a ripoff. It was a Ponzi scheme, that, and the other. And now here we are. This is so much worse. So much worse.
I was wrong. I don't mind saying that. I was wrong. I was 100% wrong. We had a good woman by our side, and we didn't treat her with the love and respect that she needed. I don't know about you, but Spectrum was good to me. American Cablevision was good to me. I miss the days of Metro Sports with the high school roundup on Channel 30, ESPN on Channel 33, MTV, BET 24, 25, Nickelodeon on 49. I come from the same place that you guys come from. Spectrum was good to us. Time Warner Cable was good to us. Why I left them when this new YouTube TV came in, planning to revolutionize TV, and now look at us. It's the worst. I wish I had treated Spectrum with more love. At this point, I'm too deep. I'm too deep into it. I honestly would truly go back to cable. But now I got multiple TVs and I'm going to get multiple cable boxes. It's too much now. But I wish I could go back to Spectrum. They never did me this way. But now you can't. You have to have all of these different things because you're going to have to pay for the streaming services to watch half of these things anyway. How can you watch Thursday Night Football if you don't have streaming? How can you watch the Royals games if you don't have streaming? You got to be in line to do all of these things. It's the worst.
The text line asks a very good question, and I'm terrified by the fact it's a good question. How long until the NFL sells the Super Bowl to streaming? Because that's coming. They're literally discussing renegotiating the NBC contract because of what they saw, the deal the NBA got. And
I don't think it will be available like that in the States. I could see that being the case internationally. I don't know to the American audience, but if you were telling me that in London, the only way for you to be able to watch the Super Bowl is through their deal with Netflix, I agree.
What's more likely, the Super Bowl is abroad or the game's on streaming?
Oh, 100% the Super Bowl will be abroad at some point.
I think the game going to streaming is going to happen before that. I think both happen, but I think there's one day me and you open the Netflix app to watch the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't think that. But I do agree with you. At some point, they're going to send it overseas, and people are going to be mad, and their case is going to be, you couldn't afford to go to it anyway. Why does it matter? It's still going to be on television. It's still going to come on the regular time. You can be mad that we're not putting the Super Bowl on. We're not going back to Jacksonville anymore or Detroit anymore. Yeah, no, that's what they're going to say. Somebody said, C-Dot, you're the reason I switched over to YouTube TV. I have YouTube TV. I do. I have YouTube TV. I'm just telling you that I wish I had treated Spectrum. I wish I had treated Time Warner with a little bit more love. Somebody said, come back to Spectrum. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can, honestly. I think we might be too far down the line for me to be able to do that.
What's that? What's that saying? The toothpaste out of the tube?
Yeah, and I'm too far gone now at this point with YouTube TV. I just might be. Me and my mom share it. My sister's on it too. At this point, I'm too knee deep. I can't.
You know a price hike's coming too.
Oh, 1,000%. Right? No, it's not going to be a price hike. I guarantee you this is going to happen. I guarantee you this. Right before college football starts, there's going to be some agreement they don't have. Every single year they do this. Oh, well, what do you know? NBC and YouTube TV don't have an agreement. You won't be able to watch Sunday Night Football until we have this agreement. For sure, it's going to happen. They do this every single year. They play us this way. And what do? Enough's enough. Somebody said everybody is going to be catching illegal streams. I'm only willing to illegal stream certain things. I don't mind being Fire Stick Boys. I really don't. I don't mind Fire Stick Boys, but there's some things I'm not willing to Fire Stick. Like, I'm not willing to Fire Stick the Royals game. I'm just going to pay for it. Like, what am I doing here? Like, I'm not willing. I got to go through all these ads so I can watch the Royals score one run. I'm not doing that. Come on now. I mean, no, thank you. I'm not interested in doing that. So, yeah, I am all for I am a Fire Stick boy. If there's a pay-per-view fight, I will absolutely pull it up on the stream with no hesitation. I can't do that for some things.
Doing that for an NFL game feels very icky.
I will say, I do pay for NFL Red Zone, and then I'll use the stream for like an individual specific game that I want to watch. So I might have like Red Zone on one TV. I'll have whatever game they give me locally, and then I'll put on a stream for another game. Like, I don't care if it's behind or whatever. What does that matter?
That's fair. So like you got your Red Zone, and then you got like Patriots.
Yeah,
Broncos,
then I'll just, all right,
okay.
like Cowboys are playing Washington. Yeah, I'll throw it on one of the TVs. Yeah, so I do every once in a while. But like when I watch the Chiefs game on the Fire Stick Boys, I can't do that. It's too much. It's too much. Then it starts buffering. Then it's some ad telling me it's some horny girl that wants to see me that lives in Odessa. I don't believe you. I can't do it. It's way too much. It's absolutely too much every single time. Coming up on the other side, we're going to talk a little bit of Royals baseball. I mean, I'm sure you've heard this before, but we got to talk about it. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
You're listening to The Drive with Carrington Harrison, the go-to show for dating advice you didn't ask for.
If you got to ask your girl to help on the bill on Valentine's Day, you've done something wrong.
On your home for Kansas City sports, 96.5, The Fan. When severe weather hits, tune in to 98.1 KMBZ for Operation Stormwatch, brought to you by Century Roofing, proudly voted the #1 roofing company in all of Kansas City. CenturyRoofingKC.com.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Look, we all have those moments where we have to say no. No to a round of golf, no to a long walk, or even just no to getting out of the chair because your knees or your back aren't cooperating. But as we head into vacation season, think about the people waiting for you to say yes. Your family, your friends, they want the real you back, the one who isn't sidelined by chronic pain. I want to help you turn that corner. At QC Kinetics, they specialize in regenerative treatments that get you back in the game without surgery or without endless recovery months. Be honest with yourself for a second. Does joint pain keep you up at night? Are you at the end of your rope leaning on daily meds just to get through a shift at work? If you're nodding your head, you're exactly who QC Kinetics helps every single day. The best part, it's done right in their office with no downtime. So call them today for that free consultation. 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. They're located off 435 in State Line or in Gladstone. 816-412-6299.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/groundadvantage to learn more.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I own a coffee shop, and I wanted to label everything with our logo.
That's ambitious.
Cups, boxes, bags.
Ooh, that'll add up.
Not at all, because right now, Staples prints custom labels for 30% off.
30% off? That's shockingly affordable branding.
Yep, now our logo and URL are seen all over town.
Brand your business for less at Staples.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in-store, online, or in the app by 4/18 to unlock. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Wouldn't you like to take a vacation from your bills? Well, you can. With credit card balances at an all-time high and Golden Oak's 4.5% rate, you could be saving thousands of dollars after a simple phone call. Call today and get your cash in as little as 14 days and make no payments for 2 months. Call 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Lending cured my blues.
5.442 APR, FHA 15-year, 20% equity, qualified credit, additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
Doug. There's nowhere I wouldn't go to help someone customize and save on car insurance with Liberty Mutual, even if it means sitting front row at a comedy show.
Hey everyone, check out this guy and his bird. What is this, your first date?
Oh, no. We help people customize and save on car insurance with Liberty Mutual together. We're married. Me to a human, him to a bird.
Yeah, the bird looks out of your league anyways.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Tonight, expect a mix of showers, thunderstorms, and partly cloudy skies with a low of 57.
Weather brought to you by Staples. From posters and presentations to labels and loyalty cards, Staples has all the print to boost your brand. Shop now in-store and online. Staples. That was easy.
It's game day. Are your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis.
Control is everything to me.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
Draft coverage on 96.5 The Fan is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. From here for wherever you are. That's the benefit of blue. Join us at the Fans Draft Party at the Brooksider Sports Bar and Grill on April 23rd for your chance to win $965 in our draft contest. 96.5 The Fan. KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
Rob, this segment is going to be a hodgepodge of things before Matt Miller joins us on the show coming up in about 15 minutes or so. Really excited to catch up with Matt Miller. First thing I want to ask you is, do you think that Tampa Bay hates Jackie Robinson? They have not won a game on Jackie Robinson Day in 15 years. Think about that. 15 years. Every year on April 15th. They have lost the game. That seems really, really difficult to do. Now, a side thought related to Jackie Robinson Day. Rob, I know that you were a big Marvel guy in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I would say that Chadwick Boseman's most prominent role was him playing the Black Panther. Rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman. But I will say, I think Chadwick Boseman's legacy is actually going to be playing Jackie Robinson. I don't know if we are going to need another Jackie Robinson movie for quite some time. I think we have the definitive movie that if you want to show a 11-year-old who Jackie Robinson is, I think you have the movie now. You show them the Chadwick Boseman version and Harrison Ford, who plays Branch Rickey. And I think that's the version of Jackie Robinson we will watch for the next 50 years or so. I'm sure at some point someone else will make another movie based on Jackie Robinson. But I think we have the movie We're Good for quite some time if you want to know the story of what he had to endure and how good of a baseball player he is, I think you just watch 42.
That's probably fair. There'll be another Black Panther. I actually think the guy from F1 and Snowfall is like right now one of the leading candidates, but I agree with you. We don't need another Jackie Robinson movie. We will get one because that's just how society works, but I don't think we need one.
So coming up in just a little bit, we're going to be joined by Matt Miller. We'll talk about the Royals here coming up in a bit. Matt Miller is one of my favorite NFL draft experts. He does fantastic work for ESPN. Here he is on NFL Live talking about it. So if you missed it, we talked about this earlier. Mel Kiper, Todd McShay, and Peter Schrager all have the Chiefs drafting Jordan Tyson with the 9th overall pick. Matt Miller thinks that 9 is a little bit too high to draft the Arizona State product.
Receiver is a need. I find 9 to be way too rich for Jordan Tyson, who's missed 34% of Arizona State's games over the last 3 years. And the last time he was healthy, 2024, he had 8 drops. So yeah, to Mel's point, when he's healthy, he looks good. But availability is the best ability, and he is often not out there. So I think in Kansas City, if you were going to go receiver, I would push for Mekhi Lemon, who is my top receiver in this draft. But we also have to look at a team that who's the right tackle long term, because Jalen Moore's on a 1-year deal. Who's rushing the quarterback opposite George Karlaftis? Who's replacing Chris Jones, who's 32? Who's replacing Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson, who are now with the Rams? Who's replacing Brian Cook at safety? This is a team that is devoid of talent so deeply throughout the entire roster. Let's not even get into tight end. I think Kansas City drafting what would maybe be a number 3 receiver if everyone's healthy at 9 is just way too rich for me.
We're going to talk to Matt Miller more about this coming up in about 10 minutes. Happy to get his thoughts on Jordan Tyson. If you don't think that Jordan Tyson is a better prospect than Xavier Worthy, then you cannot draft him. I understand that maybe he will not be day one, Worthy 3rd year in the league, knows the offense. I understand all that. If you don't think that he, by the middle part of the season, can be a more dynamic player than Xavier Worthy, you can't draft him with the 9th overall pick. Because we would not be having that conversation about Carnell Tate, for example. He is a better receiver than Xavier Worthy and probably a better receiver than Rashee Rice, or certainly has a higher ceiling, in my opinion, than what I think Rashee Rice's ceiling could be. If you don't think that he's better than Xavier Worthy, then you can't do it. And you then have to get the value elsewhere, like you heard Matt Miller say. We got to try to solve corner. We got to try to solve safety. Like, this team, I think, is lacking impact day one kind of playmakers. So we might disagree on who, what, when, where, and why, but I think we all agree there's about 5 to 6 positions that the Chiefs could just use an infusion of talent. Take a really good player at one of those positions, plug him in, and that guy's a day one starter for you at that position. And if you don't think that whoever you are drafting at 9, because it's different than at 29, if you don't think the player that you draft at 9, day one, can come in ready to help you, then I just don't know if you can select him.
What's interesting about that cut to me, and we can talk to Matt Miller here in about 10 minutes about it, is he said, I don't know you can do that for a roster that's devoid of talent. That's interesting to me to hear that an NFL draft analyst is saying the Chiefs roster
You feel that way about the Chiefs roster?
I don't think the Chiefs have high-end talent, like a ton of high-end talent on the roster. I'm not saying there's none, but I kind of agree with Matt Miller, and he started naming the list of needs. They have 9 picks, but they have a lot of needs going in the draft. So whether it's Jordan Tyson, Malik, whatever receiver the Chiefs deem is, not the guy, you can't be taking that guy at 9. They have too many other holes to fill this upcoming draft.
I want to read to you guys a stat. This stat comes from Braden Turner. Shout out to Braden Turner. The Royals have played 17 games so far this season. The Royals have scored 2 or fewer runs in 10 of the 17 games that they have played so far this season. If you want to take a look on ESPN and you want to take a look at runs scored this season, you got to scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page and see the Royals currently sit at 28. There are 2 teams that have scored fewer runs than the Royals. The White Sox are one of them. The San Francisco Giants are the other team that have scored fewer runs than the Kansas City Royals. But Carrington, the offense is better this year than it was last year. Well, Rob and I looked it up. Through the first 17 games last year, the Royals scored 53 runs in the first 17 games. They're currently at 55 runs. So, I mean, I guess technically they are a little bit better than they were last year. They are 2 peas in a pod so far. It is 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. It is 5 plus 3 and 4 plus 4. They both equal 8. Last year's offense was embarrassing. This year's offense is embarrassing. Now, I don't think they're going to finish the year at 28. I do think the bats will heat up at some point. I don't think you will be in a season-long perpetual slump with Bobby Witt Jr. and Vinny and Salvi. I mean, we've been saying the same thing now for 3 weeks. I don't have new twists and turns to talk about this offense. And until the Royals can figure out a way to consistently score, we're just going to continue to be in this place. They're not a fun and exciting team to watch. They're not a fun and exciting team to talk about. They're playing 2-1 baseball games on a Tuesday night. The weather's beautiful outside. It was 90 degrees yesterday. They're playing 2-1 baseball games. I don't have anything on them today, Rob. I wish I did. I gave you all the Royals stats that I have for today. I'm willing to talk about literally anything else other than Royals baseball. They can't score. They can't score. And they have given me very little reason to believe that they are going to score today or that their offense is changing anytime soon. If you were on the side of be patient, which, okay, if you want to be on that side, I'm not here to tell you that even you're foolish in thinking that. You've been saying the exact same thing for 15 consecutive days. Oh, it's coming. Oh, it's coming. Wait until the bats heat up. Wait until the bats heat up. All right, well, then let me know when it happens, all right? Let me know when it gets here. This is like if you got a text that says your table was ready at a restaurant, and then you go up and like, oh, just wait 5 more minutes. And then you leave and you go do something else. You back up there. Hey, is our table ready? Oh, just 5 more minutes. Well, at some point, you come get me when the table's ready. I'm hungry. That's how I feel right now watching Royals baseball. So I know, Rob, I know what you're going to tell me. Wait till May 1st. We got to get closer to Memorial Day. Okay, I'm with you. Well, I got you. Well, I don't have anything else to say about this team that is 28th in runs scored. And they have the exact same problems this year that they had last year. I don't have much else.
I mean, I wish I had something else. I got nothing else either. I mean, I saw some people on social media last night frustrated with the bullpen for giving up 2. I mean, I guess 2. If a bullpen gives up 2, they should probably still win a game. I mean, 1-0 ain't winning games. So I'm with you.
1-0 against good teams,
bad teams,
playoff teams that win series and could compete for the World Series. The expectation is to beat those teams 1-0 every day.
I mean, seriously, there are bad teams. You'd be like, I don't know, 1-0's a good plan. It's not a good plan.
Another great start from the rotation. Another fantastic Cole Reagan start, and they give you 1 run yesterday. So good luck to the Royals today. I'm sure the Royals are going to go out there. I'm sure they're going to try their hardest. I'm sure they're going to compete. I'm sure they're going to play hard, but I just don't have a lot of enthusiasm. I don't have a lot of excitement to talk about a team that they cannot score. I told you guys last week, cheering for a baseball team that can't score is the worst possible team that you can have. It's the worst possible thing that you can have. They're not playing exciting 9-8 games, and no, it's just a slow drip every single night. I don't have it in me. So we got another night of playoff basketball in Casa de Carrington. The Royals, they don't deserve the sound right now. They really don't. They don't deserve the sound right now. I'll have it on. But yeah, I'm watching Clippers Warriors tonight. I'm watching Magic Sixers tonight. You guys, you got to watch the Royals. If you want to watch that 3-1 baseball game, you watch it. You tell me how it goes. Coming up on the other side, we're going to be joined by Matt Miller of ESPN, who covers the NFL draft. A lot of draft questions. We'll get to him next. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
This is one of my favorite times of the sports calendar. Basketball fans, NBA fans, listen up. You can enter FanDuel's Play-In Palooza for your chance to win a share of $2 million in bonus bets every day during the Play-In tournament. All you have to do is place a live bet using your Play-In Palooza token. Then you'll automatically be entered for a chance to win a share of $2 million in bonus bets. So don't just watch the NBA Play-In tournament from the sidelines. You can get in on the action. All you need to do is visit FanDuel.com/local. And don't forget, to enter FanDuel's Play-in-Palooza for a chance to win a share of $2 million in bonus bets. Go to FanDuel.com/local. That's FanDuel.com/local. And remember to play your game with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app and official sportsbook partner of the NBA, and also 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Missouri. No purchase necessary. Opt-in required. Limit 1 entry. Profit boost bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost token. Prizes issued non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days as a treat. Gambling problem. Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Royals coverage brought to you by Metal by the Foot, your metal project superstore.
Where can you find an extensive line of Blue Demon welding supplies, filler, rods, and wire? Metal by the Foot, located in Casey and Topeka. Online at metalbythefoot.com. When you need a piece of metal, remember, metal doesn't have to cost an arm or a leg, just the foot.
What matters to you matters to us. That's why Busey Bank takes the time to understand your goals and build solutions that fit your story. From everyday banking to long-term planning, our team is here to help you navigate every stage with care and expertise. We're more than a bank. We're your neighbor, your advisor, and your advocate. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
Vicky Stevens writes, "We weren't happy with the way things turned out last season, so I made the call. Weedman's been a total game changer. Fertilization, weed control, the whole 9 yards. Our lawn has never looked better. The neighbors are so jealous, they avoid me at the supermarket. It's fantastic. Go to weedman.com, enter promo code GREEN, and get 1 free service."
Liberty Mutual customize this song for you. Like your car insurance, it's custom too, yeah. Liberty Mutual's got the coverage that could save you money. Thanks to Doug and Limu, well now you can go and take that cruise. Liberty, 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 yeah.
Hey everyone, I'm Josh Radner, and I am so excited to tell you about How We Made Your Mother, a rewatch podcast looking back at How I Met Your Mother. And I'm here with Craig Thomas, who co-created the show along with Carter Bays. Hi, Craig.
Hey, Josh. Somehow it has been 20 years since the show premiered. I'm going to check the math on that. 10 years since it went off the air, and we thought that made this a perfect time to look back, see what the hell we did, and why the show still seems to resonate with fans around the world today.
Follow and listen to How We Made Your Mother wherever you get your podcast.
Now's the time to complete that painting project you've been putting off. CertaPro Painters provides a free estimate quickly and at the right price. Whether it's interior or exterior, you'll never have to wonder what's next. They provide reliable updates because they know how important your home is to you. Ask about their spring sales event for 10% off qualifying projects through May 15th. Remember, each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated right here in Kansas City. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like needing a best man speech, but getting one from some random +1.
I am honored to be standing here today, also confused and a little hungry. Does anyone want to switch entrees? Pretty sure I checked beef.
You wouldn't settle for just any speech, so don't settle for just any insurance. Get the real deal with State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Royals coverage sponsored by Park & Go, the best deal on airport parking.
Trading the jacket for flip-flops? Start your sun-soaked getaway stress-free with Park & Go. All covered parking keeps your car cool and protected while you're catching rays. Quick shuttle straight to the terminal. Reserve now at bookparkandgo.com. Park & Go, family-owned, customer-approved.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Here's your traffic report on 96.5 The Fan.
There's
Still got big delays. 435 westbound. The stall is blocking part of the right lane just past 35. You'll tap your brakes through there. A new stall 35 southbound. This is just past 7th. It is the left lane blocked there. I'm Val with traffic on 96.5 The Fan.
Hey, it's George Karlaftis from the Kansas City Chiefs. Welcome to The Drive with CDOT on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Really excited to be joined by our next guest. Let's head to the phone lines right now to be joined by Matt Miller at NFL Draft Scout on the Twitter machine. He does fantastic work for ESPN. Matt, how you doing, my man? Long time no talk, my man.
I'm doing great, buddy. It's good to hear from you again.
Absolutely, man. Let's start with this. We asked this question at the beginning of the week. If you were the Las Vegas Raiders and this was a condiment draft, what would your number one overall condiment selection be?
Oh, my gosh. I think as a Midwesterner, I have to say ranch, right?
That's what Rob picked.
Is that a condiment or a dressing? Or
ranch,
we're getting into gray areas here, but I'm going ranch.
No, ranch absolutely counts. I took Louisiana hot sauce because of its versatility. Ranch is a great value with the number one overall pick.
Man, I wasn't prepared for that. I feel like I was thrown on the clock. It's like when that year the Ravens forgot to draft, and you got to run the pick in.
So there's a lot of stuff I want to get your thoughts on. Let's start with this. We have asked every draft expert this question. Where do you think the draft is strong at this year? Where do you think the draft is weak?
Yeah, I think it is strong at kind of those classic positions, wide receiver, offensive tackle. We're going to see a bunch of those go in the first round. We might see, honestly, we might see as many as 7 offensive tackles. We might see 6 wide receivers. So those are spots where we've kind of gotten used to the draft being strong. I think the fun thing about this year is it's also really deep at safety. It's really deep at linebacker. And so we might only see, in terms of true linebackers, maybe there's only 1 in the first round. We're going to see a ton of them go in the second and third round.
So I want to go through some of these individual players because I've looked at enough of these mock drafts. You've looked at enough of them. You've made your own mock drafts. I think there's a range of about 5 to 8 players that realistically make sense for Kansas City with the 9th overall pick. Let's start with Ruben Bain Jr. I think if you had to poll Chiefs fans from a realistic option, who do you want the Chiefs to select? I think that Bain would be the number 1 pick among Chiefs fans. What do you like about him as a prospect? What do you not like?
Yeah, I think what you like is you see a player who dominated in the college football playoffs. I mean, you can make the case that he was the best player in the CFP, better than Fernando Mendoza, even really carrying that Miami defense. Tons of production, tons of power, someone who's been productive really throughout his career at Miami. So those are the things that you love. What you question is the analytics of a pass rusher with sub-31 inch arms. The last 30 years, actually, one hasn't been drafted in the first round. So he's going to break that record, right? A sub-31 inch arms, he's going to go first round. But where you get stuck is sub-31 inch arm length. No player in the last 30 years has had 10 sacks in a season. So you're fighting against the analytics to say these guys just aren't productive in the NFL. And I think that's the case that you run into if you're the Chiefs is, yeah, you have this guy who's incredibly well known. He's a household name. Fans are going to be yelling at you to draft him, but you're fighting against really a lot of question marks in terms of can they overcome that lack of arm length that is such a huge case for him.
That's something that worries me with Bain. Is that something that worries you with Bain?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as of right now, going back to 1999, he would have the 6th shortest arms of any edge drafted. So you worry about that. And again, there's not a precedent where you can say, oh, well, if he had this, he'll have that, and you can look at him and say, hey, he's a powerful player. He's got that build where he played at about 275 pounds. I know he measured in at 263, but he has that pop in his pads. He has that leverage. He controls guys really well when he gets his hands into them. But I look at the Kansas City defense and it's like, okay, is this the guy that you're going to put opposite Karlaftis and next to Jones that's going to command teams to respect the outside speed? And I don't think so, because when you are short armed, you're going to struggle using whatever quickness you have. And I think quickness is the weakness to his game, right? That's other than length. He's not incredibly bendy and twitchy coming off the edge. He's more of a power player.
A lot of people have made the Dwight Freeney comparisons with Bain. Do you see that?
No, I don't. I don't at all. I think the comparisons are more Thule from the Chargers is probably a decent comp for him. I think Melvin Ingram is probably a pretty good comp for him. I don't like to compare people to Hall of Famers, the high side, you're probably thinking stylistically like Jared Verse, where you say, okay, like, this is someone who's a power player, maybe not the twitchiest guy, but is still able to have some production. I think with Freeney's first step quickness was unbeatable. And then he had that sick, spin move. He had good bend. I don't see that one at all.
Right now, we're talking to Matt Miller of ESPN. Follow him on social media at NFL Draft Scout. Last question about Bain, and I want to move to some of the other prospects. Is Bain a player that you think will be available at 9, or do you think that Kansas City would have to move up to go get him?
Yeah, I think he'll be available at 9. And if he's not, that means another really good player is, right? So if he's not, let's say the Saints take him at 7, I don't get the sense that they would. If the Saints take him at 8, then that means another really good player has been pushed down to Kansas City. So I would not trade up in this draft unless you're going all the way up to number 2 to get either David Bailey or Arvell Reese.
Let's move over to wide receiver. Do you think Carnell Tate would be available at 9?
I don't. I think he comes up the board in the top 7. I think the Commanders are probably the floor for him.
What I'm curious with when it comes to Carnell Tate is, do you think we would feel the same way about him as a prospect if he went to Wisconsin, or is he getting the benefit of he went to Ohio State and they've been so good at wide receiver over the last 5 to 7 years?
I think he's getting a little helmet bump, yeah, because you don't want to bet against Ohio State wide receivers. They've been so good over the past 5 years, definitely, right, with this run on first-rounders. So I think there's a little bit of that, of knowing. It's like drafting a defensive back from LSU, or a wide receiver from LSU, or a DB from Alabama. Like, you kind of know how well they've been coached, and you feel solid about what they're going to be. Like, it eliminates some of that, can they do it like a professional factor, because they've been doing it like a professional for the past 4 years.
Right now, we're talking to Matt Miller with ESPN at NFL Draft Scout on social media, going through a lot of the draft prospects with Kansas City. So Mel Kiper, who you work with, Todd McShay, Peter Schrager, they all had the Chiefs drafting Jordan Tyson, the wide receiver out of Arizona State, with the 9th overall pick. We just played your audio about 10 minutes ago. You think that's too rich for the Chiefs' blood at number 9. For people who missed that audio, why do you not like Jordan Tyson for the Chiefs at 9?
I don't like drafting a player who missed 34% of his games over the last 3 years at 9. I really don't. It's that simple to me, Carrington, truly. And the Chiefs already have some receivers that are question marks. Worthy's hurt every 4 weeks. Rashee Rice has injury issues and off-field issues. So now you're going to draft another guy who's never on the field. I don't like that. I think that's a risk you take at a different part of the draft, not at 9. And I'll say this, I'm a huge Brett Veach fan. I love the work that he's done in Kansas City. He is a Kansas City Hall of Famer for what he's done. They have not hit on round 1 picks. At 9, you've been fortunate to have the number 9 pick in the midst of a dynasty. I don't think you can squander that on a player who's just not been on the field enough. And when he was on the field, had a drop rate that was crazy. He had 8 drops in 2024. To me, that's not a player you take at 9. When there are other legitimate blue chip talents on the field, it's a good wide receiver draft. I think at that point, if you feel like receivers in need, you take one at 29 or 40. You don't force it at 9.
Do you like Mekhi Lemon? You're one of the few draft scouts that have Lemon over Tate. I feel like a lot of people have it flip-flop, and they have Tate as the best wide receiver prospect. Do you like Lemon to Kansas City at 8?
I would love Lemon to Kansas City at 8 because of his toughness, route running ability, yards after catch ability. Despite being 5'11", 195, he's creating missed tackles. So he's doing a lot of this on his own, right? He's not the product of the system so much. So if they are convicted, and I haven't heard anything in my own 2 ears about Kansas City feeling like they need to go receiver early in this draft, if they have to go receiver and Tate is off the board, to me, Lemon is the right pick.
It sounds to me, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it sounds to me like you think there is better wide receiver value for Kansas City at 9, or excuse me, at 29 or 40 than you think it is with their top 10 pick.
Yeah, I just don't view it as that much of a need, to be honest. I think it is a need, right? It is, because there are the question marks about Worthy. There are the question marks about Rice. So, yes, it is a need. But have they looked at this defense? Has anyone looked at the Chiefs' defensive depth chart? You lose your top 2 corners. They've struggled to find pass rush help. They've struggled to find a hit opposite Karlaftis or a hit next to Jones, who's 32, and you have to start thinking about the future. I don't understand where this rush to get a wide receiver came from, unless there's something that the league knows or that some of these folks like Schrager and Kuiper and others know about the Chiefs' plans at the receiver position, because to me it seems like that's an area where you would have some comfort, some familiarity going into 2026.
Right now, we're talking to Matt Miller at NFL Draft Scout. He does great work for ESPN, going through some of the top stories for the Kansas City Chiefs. They have the 9th and 29th pick in the first round of the NFL Draft. I'm sure you have seen this almost every time that it has been suggested. People do not seem very high on the idea of the Chiefs drafting a right tackle with the 9th overall pick. Now, I want them to go D-line. I want them to go wide receiver. But the logic to me is, I don't know if the Chiefs view Jalen Moore as the solution that maybe some Chiefs fans think that he is. And the Chiefs also don't have a 2027, 2028 plan beyond when it comes to right tackle, and you could possibly get that answer with the 9th overall pick. That would not be my favorite plan if they did it at number 9, but I also would not hate it if they drafted a tackle at number 9.
I actually would like it a lot more than receiver. And I look at it this way. You have Patrick Mahomes. The number one goal for this franchise should be to protect Patrick Mahomes. I think you can generate wide receiver talent. Like, you can build a depth chart without drafting a guy in the top 10. You know what you rarely find? Good offensive tackles outside the first round. It is incredibly rare. Look at the 64 starting tackles in the NFL. Most of them are going to be coming from the first round and early in the first round at that rate. So if they draft a tackle at 9 and a defensive player at 29, and Beach and Andy get on the podium Thursday night and they say, hey, our priority is protecting Patrick Mahomes, I'm going to be clapping like crazy for that pick.
Which offensive tackle do you think would make the most sense for them at 9?
Yeah, if Francis Maui-Noah happens to be there at 9, that's plug and play. He's the best anchor in the draft. He's someone like Darnell Wright, who the Bears drafted at 9 overall, and he has solidified that offensive line for Caleb Williams. I think Spencer Fano from Utah is another play you'd have to consider there because of his experience at right tackle. Also, he's played some left tackle. So if you're not in love with Josh Simmons, or you're worried about Josh Simmons, who missed some time this year, you have someone that can make the move to the other side. But I agree. I think tackle is a bigger need than receiver, especially considering Simmons missing time last year that no one's ever gotten an explanation for. And then you have Jalen Moore, who's only signed for one more year.
Right now, we're talking to Matt Miller with ESPN. I struggle with Caleb Downs looking at it through this lens. I think he is a phenomenal football player. It is hard to step in day one and start at Alabama and then start 2 years at Ohio State and be one of the best college football players basically since day one stepping on campus. He plays at a position of need for the Kansas City Chiefs. Where I struggle with is spending the 9th overall pick on a safety. Do you have that concern for Kansas City?
I do. I love Caleb Downs. I think he's one of the best players in the class. I go back to the fact that I think this is a team that needs to hit those premium positions. You know, corner, pass rusher, pass protector, maybe wide receiver. I would say safety at 9 is a little rich. I love Caleb Downs. I really do. I don't know that that's the best fit for them.
When you think of player comparisons, is there an impact that you think Caleb Downs could have? Are we talking an elite corner or elite safety prospect? Are we talking about Kyle Hamilton?
I think not that level of athlete. I think we're talking about Budda Baker. I think you're looking at someone who's an instinctive playmaker, quarterback of the secondary, is a mismatch player, takes away the other team's best offensive player at times. But I don't think we're talking about a 6 interception a year type player. That's just not who he's been.
A couple more players I want to get your thoughts on, and I'll get you out of here. Let's hate with him because the Chiefs just haven't shown that they're willing to pay a corner. So why spend the 9th overall pick on a player to only have him for 4 years, and you don't see him as being a decade-long player? That's my biggest issue with him.
They take McDuffie at 22?
Yeah,
so
21.
I think it's they drafted corners before in the first round, right? And I think you look at it this way, Carrington. If it hits you and you don't want to pay him, you trade him for a first-round pick because that's what they did with McDuffie. So I love Delane. I think he is – my comp for him was actually Trent McDuffie. So he's fantastic, dude. Feisty, plays great at the line of scrimmage, has ball skills. I thought he's the best corner in football last year. So a little bit short-armed, but, man, what he does inside-outside is great.
Do you think he can be a number 1 corner lineup on the outside, or do you think he's more of an interior slot corner in the way a lot of people perceive Trent McDuffie?
I think he play on the outside. He did it last year at LSU. So a year ago, I would have said inside, but what he did last year at LSU, I think, prove that he can be an outside guy.
Matt, last player I want to get your thoughts on is Kenyon Sadiq. Can you help me understand how this guy had 900 yards in college and people think he can be a top 10 pick? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, that's Oregon's offense. I don't blame him for that. Oregon likes to spread the ball to the perimeter. I think you look at now 9's too rich for me, but I think when you look at the athletic ability, it's like Vernon Davis, man. He is rare in terms of what he does. And having only 51 catches, he scored 8 touchdowns. So for me, if you have an issue with him, it's the drops, which he had 6. I don't look so much at, hey, this guy only had 900 yards in college. Oregon's been stacked at tight end. Terrence Ferguson, who was the second-round pick of the Rams last year, Sadiq had to wait his turn behind him. So I don't get caught too much in the box score with him.
That is our guy, Matt Miller, joining us on the show. He is at NFL Draft Scout. He also does fantastic work for ESPN. Catch him getting ready for the NFL draft. Matt, great stuff, man. I'm always happy to see that you're having so much success, man. We'll catch up with you after the draft when we find out who the Chiefs pick.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Absolutely. That is Matt Miller joining us on the show. Our draft coverage here on The Drive is brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete, the Leavenworth PD, and also the Salvation Army's Civic Lunch. Shout out to all three of them for sponsoring the draft coverage here on the show. Rob, would you spend the 9th overall pick on Trent McDuffie if you know that you were going to trade him in a couple of years and get back a first-round pick?
No. I don't know that I would trade a top 10 pick for a guy who has 5 years. No. I guess 4, because you have to trade him while I was so no, I would not do that. Not at 9. At 29, I can be talked into it. At 9, I need a guy who's going to be a pillar of my organization for long periods of time.
I think it's a really interesting question. Because if you were telling me, like, let's go through this exercise. They draft Delane. He turns out to be a top 10 corner in the National Football League. The money continues to go up, up, up for him. Next thing you know, you turn around and you trade him for what is equal to the 19th overall pick. I don't know if that's a bad decision, especially if you're following Matt Miller, if he's telling you that he can be one of those number one guys on the outside. If you were telling me that Mansour Delane goes out to be a legitimate number one corner, a Pro Bowl, all-pro caliber kind of guy that you think can match up with against anybody, you pay the rookie deal, you spent the 9th overall pick, and in 4 years, you'll be able to turn that into another first-round selection. I don't know if that's the wrong play if he turns out to be that kind of prospect.
At a top 10 pick, which we presume, I'm working on the presumption this is the only time the Chiefs will do this in the Patrick Mahomes era. If this happens again, it's either Mahomes got hurt or a disaster transpired. I don't know. I'm signing up for a guy that I'm hoping one day I can get picked 21 out of on the back end. I'm hoping that one day I can turn and burn. I would want someone who I have long-term plans with. Like, I would want to view him the way a team is viewing David Bailey. That's our pass rusher for the next 10 years. We're good. I don't know that I want a guy like even Tyrann Mathieu, a great football player, but he was a guy who played on 4 teams in the NFL? I don't think you want to draft a guy who you're like, man, the second or third team, they're going to get the most out of him, but we're going to get that pick back. I just don't like that mindset for a top 10 pick.
Now, Matt Miller, I think, expressed what my fear is with Ruben Bain. I don't look at him to be the home run that I think a lot of you look at him to be. And we'll find out who's right or who's wrong. We'll see how his NFL career plays out. But I think Matt just perfectly encapsulated sort of how I feel. If Ruben Bain works out, he will be one of the biggest anomalies that we talk about when it comes to the NFL draft. I don't want to pretend like I'm some draft expert or some draft pundit. I'm not breaking down the 3-cone shuttle drill and all of these things. But if you are somebody that believes these things matter and believe that they have a part to play in the evaluation of who you are going to select, the arm length thing with Ruben Bain has to scare you. It has to scare you. I do think that there is a certain physical trait and physical characteristics that you need to have to be a good, successful NFL player, depending on what your position is. Too many draft people are telling me Bain does not fit that profile. Now, again, anomalies happen, right? But if you were going to draft Bain with the 9th overall pick, the history says he is not going to be the NFL player that you think he is going to be. That we're talking about, there has not been a guy this century that has gotten double-digit sacks with these physical traits. So unless you think Bain is a true one of one, that means you have to make up for the arm length in other physical ways. Like, you just got to be an absolute physical marvel in a lot of ways, which nobody has described Ruben Bain like that to us. I think he is a good player. The arm length thing, I'd be lying to you guys if I told you it didn't bother me, it didn't worry me. And we're already talking about, right now, it honestly is just the red flags Olympics. Jordan Tyson has red flags. Caleb Downs, I would say his red flag is the position that he plays. Like, there are knocks and there are negatives on all of these kind of prospects. And if you're telling me with Ruben Bain that he would be one of the most unique defensive players drafted over the last 25 years, and the Chiefs are talking about taking him with the 9th overall pick, I'm sorry, that has not put my mind at ease about how this could potentially go. Coming up at the top of the hour, we are going to be joined by someone from the Missouri Workers Center. They oppose the downtown stadium idea. We are going to get their explanation on why they oppose the idea. We're going to do all that. Keep it right here. It's The Drive on 96.5 The Fan.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan. The countdown to the World Soccer Championship is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. From here for wherever you are, that's the benefit of blue. Visit bluekc.com/benefit of blue for more information.
There's a new kind of energy at Starbucks. When your day needs a reset, try the all-new energy refreshers. Strawberry acai, mango dragon fruit, or the all-new mango strawberry. The refreshers you love, now with extra caffeine. New energy refreshers only at Starbucks.
Staples has hundreds of great ways to boost your brand, like spectacular signs, brilliant brochures, eye-popping posters, mouth-watering menus, and more. Shop now through April 18th and save up to $125 on all your custom prints. Staples, that was easy.
Forget what you think being a cop is. In Leavenworth, we're not robotic, no egos, just real people doing real work and loving it. You'll have a front row seat to action you can't script, and you'll do it with the latest high-tech tools in modern policing and technology that helps you do the job smarter and safer. It's real. It's not for everyone, but if you want in, come apply.
Leavenworth PD. We're different on purpose. Got questions? Give Sergeant Flynn a call and apply now at leavenworthks.gov/police. That's leavenworthks.gov/police.
You're always better with a roof from JR.
Here they come. A baseball-sized hailstorm means every roofer for 500 miles is on his way here to ring your doorbell. Before that happens, go online to jrstormcheck.com and relax. JR & Company is locally owned, veteran-owned, and family-owned. JR & Company offers a lifetime warranty on workmanship. But best of all, JR & Company offers a free Class 4 shingle upgrade. What does that mean? Most insurance companies offer premium discounts on Class 4 shingles. Remember, no roofer can legally offer to pay your deductible, but a free shingle upgrade can reduce premiums for years to come. Why do we do this? Because we can. A lifetime workmanship warranty and free shingle upgrade. It's why we say,
You're always better with a roof from JR.
Just visit jrstormcheck.com.
Hey, it's Rex here with Rex Buys KC. I get it. Selling your house can sometimes feel overwhelming or scary, right? I've seen it too many times. A homeowner thought they had a deal, only to have the buyer back out at the last minute. That's not how we do business at Rex Buys KC. I'm local, I know Kansas City, and I make sure every deal actually closes like it's supposed to. No hidden fees, no showings, no last-minute surprises, just a fair cash offer and a process you can count on. We buy homes in any condition and judgment-free. So whether your house needs repairs or you just want a fast, hassle-free sale, we can make it happen. If you want certainty, transparency, and someone local who actually delivers, call 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com. Rex Buys KC, helping people make smart choices one home at a time. 816-330-6000 or rexbuyskc.com.
In a world in need of a hero, one man rises to the challenge in style. He is
Just driving the kids to soccer practice.
Make every day feel epic in the all-new Hyundai Palisade Hybrid with up to an EPA estimated 619 miles of range on select trims, advanced tech, and class-leading interior space. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details.
And hey, come on, no cleats on the seats.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
The smartest way to spend your money is not to. Straight Talk offers free 5G phones for new and existing customers on Verizon's 5G network. So the refund money I don't spend on that free phone is the refund money I get to keep for my family. Smart.
Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Taxes and fees apply. Plan purchase required for free phone offers. Copyright 2026 Verizon.
Legendary doesn't happen by chance. It happens because it's what BetMGM does. Sign up for BetMGM using bonus code KOSTOS, KOSTOS, and you could receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. Get into hockey, basketball, and more of your favorite sports with same-game parlays, live betting, and more. BetMGM. Make it legendary. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. Must be 21 years of age or older. This specific promotional offer is not available in Michigan, Mississippi, New Jersey, New York, Nevada, Ontario, Pennsylvania, Puerto Rico, or West Virginia. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-MY-RESET. Available in the U.S. For New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. For Massachusetts, 1-800-327-5050. For Iowa, 1-800-BETS-OFF. For Puerto Rico, 1-800-981-0023. First bet offer for new customers only. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards or non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Liberty Mutual customize this song for you. Like your car insurance, it's custom too, yeah. Liberty Mutual's got the coverage that could save you money. Thanks to Doug and Limu, well now you can go and take that cruise. Liberty, 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 yeah.
Royals coverage on The Fan, sponsored by Salvation Army Kick Hunger Civic Lunch on May 7th. Get ready to kick off a summer of soccer in Kansas City while fighting hunger. Join the Salvation Army for the Kick Hunger Civic Lunch 2026 May 7th. Score big for local families in need. Grab your tickets or table today at kickhungerkc.com. That's kickhungerkc.com.
96.5 The Fan's draft coverage is brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete, the Leavenworth PD, and the Salvation Army Civic Breakfast. Here's your traffic report on 96.5 The Fan.
Okay, new crash near Lee Summit, and it's 2 cars involved. 470 eastbound as you approach 50. The right lane is blocked. We've also got 435 eastbound just before 49 470. Scoot to the left through here. 2 left lanes are blocked. I'm Val with traffic on 96.5 The Fan.
Welcome to your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
I told you guys this story before, but I'll never forget this. This is when Danny and I were first starting out. We were still on middays. This was 9 to 11, so this was a long time ago. This is when we had to be off by 11 o'clock because Jim Rome would take over. This lets you know how long ago this was. So you guys remember, Matt Castle was the starting quarterback for the Chiefs. It was not going well, and they replaced him with Brady Quinn, I believe. And I remember going home that night, and I had all these stats to back up why I thought that Matt Castle was actually the better quarterback for the Chiefs and that they were making a mistake by switching to Brady Quinn. I felt very strongly in that conviction. I'll never forget, we got a phone call, and this gentleman, I can't remember his name, he said, you know what, Carrington, all those stats you were saying might be right, but I'm just ready for somebody new. And it just hit me. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Like, I got it. The reason I'm telling you guys that story is I think we have had draft expert after draft expert tell you why taking an offensive lineman with the 9th overall pick actually makes a lot of sense for the Kansas City Chiefs. I just don't think you guys want to hear it. I don't think you guys have any interest in listening to it. If they take an offensive tackle, you will wrap your minds around it. But right now, when the board is completely open, when I would say basically outside of David Bailey, maybe Carnell Tate. You feel like you can get anybody that you want in this year's NFL draft. Bain could possibly be there. Mekhi Lemon would be there. To go through all of these possibilities, to go through watching the Chiefs last December and knowing that they had a chance at a top 10 pick. I mean, we've been at this now for 4 or 5 months to do all of that work and then hear Roger Goodell read a card that the Chiefs are going to take an offensive lineman with the 9th overall pick. I mean, I understand. We've had this. Matt Miller was just on here. Rob, we had 4 people that cover the NFL draft that keep saying, hey, I don't know, man. Offensive line makes a lot of sense for Kansas City. It makes a lot of sense for Kansas City. Every time I see the text line, you do not want to hear it. You don't want it. You don't want it. It reminded me of that story. I wanted to tell you guys that.
I mean, I also fall in the same category as the text line. Maybe not just because I don't want that, which I don't want that. That's definitely a thing. But I just feel like in an offseason where they got significantly weaker at corner, they have not addressed wide receiver, and they have not addressed edge rusher. It just seems like a mistake to me to take an offensive tackle at 9. But Matt Miller, Daniel Jeremiah, Trevor Sikkema, Louis Riddick was on the midday show. Dane Brugler was on the morning show. Like, it's not just our show. Everyone who has draft experts on the show keeps saying the same thing. Keep an eye on tackle for the Chiefs. It makes sense about protecting Patrick Mahomes. I don't have to like it, and I don't think the thought process is good, but the people who do this keep telling us this is the thing that could happen. So either they're all wrong or they are all in the know, and fans and myself are going to be frustrated at some point on Thursday the 23rd at the Brooksider. That's what I've gathered.
Someone says, CDOT, I just believe they have bigger needs than offensive linemen. I don't disagree with you there. But I also think that in our conversations, we are simultaneously minimizing how big of a need that right tackle could potentially be for the Kansas City Chiefs. So I do not disagree with you. If you are saying for the 2026 Kansas City Chiefs that you would line up right tackle as maybe the 4th or 5th biggest need, I won't fight you that hard there. But I think if you were talking about the next 3 years for the Kansas City Chiefs and what is a need for them, I think right tackle is a little bit higher up and a pretty important position that they need to answer out. So a lot of the same logic that I think people had last year, and you heard Matt Miller say, if Brett Veach came out and said, we're going to do everything in our power to continue to protect Patrick Mahomes and got him another tackle, it would be in line with basically everything that they've done for the last 24 months. That's all they've done is give Patrick Mahomes everything. When it was time to pay their center, they paid him. When it was time to pay their right guard, they paid him. When everybody agreed they needed a left tackle, they went out and drafted one in the first round. In free agency, their biggest swing they've taken over the last 2 years, I would say, was going out to go get an offensive lineman. A lot of the moves that they have made have been on the offensive side of the line of scrimmage. So I wouldn't be stunned if they just continue that trend and do that with number 9.
If we are going to play the trends, though, and I agree with you, that's been their trend, would that also mean wide receiver is not going to happen on Thursday night? Because historically,
at 9 or overall, I just want to be sure.
9. Excuse me, I forgot about 29. At 9, they don't use. They have only used one premium asset on wide receiver basically since the Bucs Super Bowl.
That's fair.
The Chiefs get beat by the Bucs, and then Brett Veach decided O-line's important, wide receiver, who cares? They made one dart throw at it. It's been Xavier Worthy. Outside of that, it's been a second-round pick in Rice, a journeyman that they now re-signed in Tyquan Thornton, Jalen Royals, who I believe is a real thing, but who knows? He could be made up. He could be cast for the ghost. No one's ever seen him. So if we're going to follow trends, we should be crossing out our Carnell Tate and Malachi Lemon hopes and start looking at other positions, because that's also been the trend with Brett Veach's tenure in Kansas City.
And that's why I think that the 9th overall pick is so interesting. Someone on the text line said, well, Steve, who do you guys like? I think I've been more open about this than where most people are. There are others, I would say right now, as we were saying it, other than Kenyon Sadiq, I can wrap my mind around any other pick that they make. If they draft Jordan Tyson with the 9th overall pick, it will make sense to me. If they draft Mekhi Lemon with the 9th overall pick, if they go offensive tackle, if they take Ruben Bain and they don't care about arm length and think that that is malarkey, I think the Chiefs can do a lot of different things at 9. Other than them taking Kenyon Sadiq with the 9th overall pick, I don't know if there is a selection or thing that they can do next Thursday that I would come on here on Friday and tell you I don't like that they did that. I would say ideally, what best case scenario is for me. Best case scenario is David Bailey is sitting there at 5 and Kansas City goes up to go get him. That's what I hope happens. I hope that we're wrong about David Bailey, that Arvell Reese goes number 2 overall. Arizona goes with an offensive tackle. Let's say at number 4, the Titans select Jeremiah Love, and at number 5, the Chiefs call up the Giants and they go get David Bailey, and they go get who I think is the best defensive player in this draft class. That's what I hope happens, but let's see how the draft board continues to play itself out. But my board would be either going up to go get Bailey or taking a wide receiver at 9.
But what about what Deion Jeremiah said? You wouldn't be mad about Jeremiah Love at number 9?
Yes, I would be mad about Jeremiah Love at number 9. I would personally be mad about Jeremiah Love.
Don't tell me you'd be happy with anything other than Jeremiah Love, Kansas City Chiefs. You'd be Rob Britton at running back mad at Jeremiah Love at 9.
It wouldn't make any sense to me. It wouldn't make any sense. I would be absolutely stunned. So that's what I hope happens. I hope that David Bailey doesn't, because if Bailey doesn't go 2 overall, I think he could fall, relatively speaking. I can see Arizona going offensive line. I can see Tennessee taking Jeremiah Love. I can see the Giants going in a different direction. I can see the Giants maybe getting Sonny Styles. And then, you're just looking at the board, and it's just, hey, trade up to go get him. I'm not Rob. I got no problem with the Chiefs trading that 74th overall pick to go get David Bailey. If you're telling me that's what they come away with and they still get to keep 29 and they keep 40, yes, I have no problem with them trading the 74th overall pick to move up to go get David Bailey. That's what I hope happens. Let's see how the board potentially falls. Coming up on the other side, we are going to be joined by someone from the Missouri Workers Center. They oppose the downtown stadium. We are going to have them tell you why they oppose the downtown stadium. That's coming up. Keep it right here. So Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison and Rob Brenton.
You losers is what you are.
On your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. Here's your traffic report on 96.5 The Fan.
Okay, new crash near Lee Summit, and it's 2 cars involved. 470 eastbound as you approach 50. The right lane is blocked. We've also got 435 eastbound just before 49 470. Scoot to the left through here. 2 left lanes are blocked. I'm Val with traffic on 96.5 The Fan.
Spring is here, and as the weather heats up, the sports action heats up at Circus Sports. From baseball to basketball to hockey, Circus Sports has it all. Circus Sports isn't just sports betting, it's sports betting the way it should be. High betting limits, player-friendly pricing, and exceptional customer service. Whether you're looking for playoff futures or props on your favorite players and more, Circus Sports has you covered. And don't miss out on the special Royals props for every game. Download Circus Sports app or visit circusports.com today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Royals coverage brought to you by Metal by the Foot, your metal project superstore.
At Metal by the Foot, we pride ourselves on delivering the highest quality metal to meet your exact needs. Located in Casey and Topeka, online at metalbythefoot.com. When you need a piece of metal, remember, metal doesn't have to cost an arm or a leg, just the foot.
Get ready, Kansas City! Harris is giving you the chance to drive away in a brand new 2025 Ford Bronco Big Bend. Earn entries now through May 2nd just by playing your favorite games. Want even better odds? Every Tuesday in April, score double entries to boost your chances. Then join us May 2nd for the big drawing. Adventure is calling. Will you answer? Only at Harris, Kansas City. 21 or older to gamble. Know when to stop before you start. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is one of my favorite times of the sports calendar. Basketball fans, NBA fans, listen up. You can enter FanDuel's Play-In Palooza for your chance to win a share of $2 million in bonus bets every day during the play-in tournament. All you have to do is place a live bet using your Play-In Palooza token. Then you'll automatically be entered for a chance to win a share of $2 million in bonus bets. So don't just watch the NBA play-in tournament from the sidelines. You can get in on the action. All you need to do is visit FanDuel.com/local. And don't forget to enter FanDuel's Play-In Palooza for a chance to win a share of $2 million in bonus bets. Go to FanDuel.com/local. That's FanDuel.com/local. And remember to play your game with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app and official sportsbook partner of the NBA, and also 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Missouri. No purchase necessary. Opt-in required. Limit 1 entry. Profit boost bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost token. Prizes issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expires 7 days as free. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
There's a new kind of energy at Starbucks. When your day needs a reset, try the all-new energy refreshers. Strawberry acai, mango dragon fruit, or the all-new mango strawberry. The refreshers you love, now with extra caffeine. New energy refreshers only at Starbucks.
If you miss being able to finish a road trip playlist on a road trip, we can help. Just take it to Telly. Schedule your service at tellytire.com.
Xfinity Tech Support, Matthew speaking.
Hi, I live in a pretty remote place, like Jurassic Park remote. No!
Wow.
Will Xfinity Mobile work out here?
Yep, the combination of reliable Wi-Fi and 5G makes it so that you can stay connected in all kinds of places. Plus, you get access to ultra-fast speeds and coverage, whether you're poolside or out live streaming with a T-Rex.
Hold still, you're about to go viral.
Welcome to a new era of Wi-Fi boosted mobile. Cut your mobile bill in half with 2 lines of unlimited. Learn more at xfinitymobile.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Watch Jurassic Park with Xfinity. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Internet required. Savings comparison based on promotional rate for 2 lines of Xfinity Mobile Unlimited versus 2 lines of T-Mobile Experience More, Verizon Unlimited Plus, and AT&T Starter as of February 10th, 2026. Taxes, fees, extra.
What's up, everybody? Nick Costos here with the Sports Betting Minute, brought to you by BetMGM. Make it legendary. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Tonight in the pro basketball playoffs, Philadelphia, a 1.5-point favorite against Orlando. Total in the game, 223.5. I want to take a look at a player prop, and let's go to Orlando star forward, former #1 overall pick in the draft. His points prop tonight sitting at 23.5, and I think he goes over the total. A lot of criticism of this player over the last couple of years for his play in the regular season, but he's a proven big-time playoff performer, and I think he comes to play tonight with the season on the line. So tonight in Orlando, Philly, let's go over the points for Orlando star forward. That's it for this Sports Betting Minute, brought to you by BetMGM. Download the BetMGM app today. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Missouri only. Subject to eligibility requirements. Please gamble responsibly.
Royals coverage is brought to you by the Brooksider Sports Bar and Grill. Game day starts here.
Kick off your weekend early at the Brooksider. Thursday night reverse happy hour means great deals and even better vibes. Grab your crew, grab a drink, and stay for the game. Brooksider Sports Bar and Grill. Game day starts here.
If you're looking for more NFL draft coverage, go subscribe and follow the Character Concerns podcast with Bink and Chris on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. This is your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
I want to pass along some news to you guys. The World Cup team, they have announced what the bus service is going to cost for the World Cup. Unlimited regional trips from downtown Kansas City to 14 different locations. They're going to cost $5 a day, $25 a week, $50 for the entire tournament. They're also going to have a round-trip match day service to the stadium. So, for example, you would park at Worlds of Fun, the bus would pick you up at Worlds of Fun, drop you off at the game, you would then go to the game, get back on the bus, it would drop you back off at your car at Worlds of Fun, and then you can drive home. There's going to be 14 of those locations spread out across the Kansas City metro area. Only going to be $15 round trip on the day of the game if you want to catch that and go to the game. I actually think that's a pretty reasonable price. I think that's a pretty reasonable service, Rob. You are somebody that will likely use this service at some point. You will probably go to one of these games. What do you think of this news and what they are going to charge you to go to the game?
I'm looking at the map here. $15 from basically anywhere across the city. Like, there's one at the Oakland Park Convention Center, Oak Park Mall out by me. There's one at Lee Summit, the Independence Center. Like, there are, pickup and drop-off zones all across the metros. That's $15 ain't bad. Also, I'm reading Eric Graves from KNBC's tweet. if you're going downtown to FanFest, that ride's free. So you can get on the bus and be like, hey, I'm going to FanFest. You can go experience the World Cup in town without a match, but still go experience it. That's a very good deal if you're going to ride the bus in Kansas City.
Wouldn't mind if they had this for Chiefs games, honestly. I wouldn't mind if they had this for the Chiefs game.
By the way, there's also
completely honest with
there's
you.
a pickup location in Lawrence. $15 from Lawrence to Arrowhead's an incredible deal.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm sitting here looking at it. So, I mean, some of the ideas, or some of the locations, the Legends, Lawrence, Oak Park, Overland Park Convention Center, Mission, Lenexa City Center, Lee Summit, Independence Center, Worlds of Fun, Liberty. So, I mean, pretty spread out across the Kansas City metro. You park at one of those locations, you pay you $15, they'll take you to the game, they'll take you back to your location, back to your car. That seems like a pretty reasonable service, I would say. So I'm really excited to play this for you guys. I got a chance earlier today to be joined by Terrence Wise. Terrence Wise is with the Missouri Workers Center, and they are a community group that is opposed to the plan in building a stadium in downtown Kansas City. As I tell you guys all the time, this show is always going to be open to people that want to come on and oppose these ideas. I think it's their right. I think it's important to have these conversations in public, so I'm happy to play it for you. My conversation with Terrence Wise started with, why do you and your organization propose the stadium idea in downtown Kansas City?
Well, you know, we've not only have I been in opposition, but Missouri voters spoke loud and clear when we went to the ballot box and overwhelmingly opposed to this new sales tax giving the Royals the money to build this downtown stadium. And the reasons behind it is because it lacked benefits that truly were there for the community. And I'm not talking about free game tickets or $1 hot dog nights. I'm talking about things that truly benefited the stadium, affordable housing around the district, good living wage union jobs after the construction of the new district, and truly a place where folks can live, work, and play. They were absent when it came to planning this new stadium, and now we're back here again.
A major reason of why I think the vote failed the first time is the original idea was basically to build a stadium on top of a community. There were going to be people's homes that were affected. They were going to be operating businesses that were affected. That doesn't appear to be the issue with this stadium proposal idea.
Well, with this issue, a lot of the same things exist, you know. Will the area in and around the district be affordable? Will it have affordable housing? And not only that, how will it impact businesses in and around downtown? But most importantly, the citizens of Kansas City. How will they truly benefit from our tax dollars, my tax dollars, being given to a billionaire, John Sherman, to build this ballpark? You know, he has the means to do it himself, you know? So why do we have to subsidize this new district they're planning, you know?
An argument that I have made is this is the cost of doing business in American City, where a lot of the things that we enjoy, we contribute to. The zoo, for example, tax dollars go towards the zoo. Union Station upgrades, the taxpayer dollars go towards that. That's at least how I see it. It doesn't sound like you see it that way.
Oh, definitely not. And, you know, that's not only what folks would call the cost of business doing here, but all around the country when you look in at professional stadiums and things of that nature. And it doesn't have to be that way. I remember a time in our great country, even our state, where, you know, women didn't have the ability to vote. Neither did colored people have the ability to vote. But that wasn't right back then. And when we talk about what's going on with this issue, that doesn't make that right now, you know. Tax dollars should go to helping the citizens that pay it with good, affordable housing, health care, a clean, safe city. Our tax dollars shouldn't be just spent on luxury for billionaires, you know?
Right now, we're joined by Terrence Wise. He is with the Missouri Workers Center. They are opposed to the new stadium. It sounds to me like you are against any private stadium that would be supported through public money.
Well, you know, what I'm for is if it's public money and it's going to be used for any private industry, the public and myself should benefit from it. You know, if we're spending our tax dollars, what are we getting in return? You know, are we going to have good, affordable housing out of the deal? Are we going to have a safer city? Are we going to have good jobs that come in with the building of the new district? It's a right way to do things. I love the Royals. I cried at Game 5 when we stormed back to beat New York and bring home that World Series title. So I love the Royals. I want them to be here in Kansas City, but not at the cost of my quality of life and the quality of life of everyday citizens here in the city downgrading.
Wouldn't the argument of the benefit be for personal enjoyment and civic pride, and also that it is a great welcoming mat for the city? And it is what separates Kansas City from a city like Omaha, or what separates Kansas City from a city like Tulsa, that you have an NFL team, that you have a Major League Baseball team.
That's my vision, not only for Kansas City to be a great city for the rest of the world, a beacon of light for the rest of the world, and be like, look how they're doing in Kansas City. Now that's a show me state. But I also want let's be greedy, Kansas City. We can have it all. We can have the Royals, we can have a district, but we also want to have the things that I keep reiterating: affordable housing, good living wage jobs, good union jobs, and all the things that come with it. I don't want to sacrifice my well-being and the well-being of everyday Kansas Cityans just to have this district. Let's figure out a way to have it all.
Right now, we're joined by Terrence Wise with the Missouri Workers Center. They are opposed to the stadium idea for downtown Kansas City. Do you think a public vote would pass if it was on the ballot the same way that it was 2 years ago?
I think it would have passed if we had the things that we had in the community benefits agreement. And, I had an intimate look at that. I was at the negotiating table with the Royals, with John Sherman and his entourage, discussing a community benefits agreement before the vote. We demanded good affordable housing, good jobs, not only in the stadium, but around the district that was planned to being built. And the Royals walked away from that table. They did not negotiate in good faith. They showed us who they were prior to this vote. And I do believe that if we could have reached an agreement with the Royals, had a truly beneficial community benefit agreement for all of Kansas Cityans, then we would have got that vote passed the last time. So to be back here and to see our elected leaders here go around the will of the people, and try to push this new deal through is really disheartening,
Right now, we're talking to Terrence Wise. Do you think this is a government overreach?
Not only that, but I think it's popular here in Missouri, regardless of what your beliefs are, that our elected leaders, whether local or statewide, should respect the will of the voters. If that tax passed when it went up for vote April 2nd years ago, then that would have been the deal. They would have had the stadium. It would have been passed. But now that it got voted down, how can we find a loophole to go around the will of the people? So it's not only in this instance, but we see a lot of that, not only here in Missouri, around the country, where the will of the voters are just not being respected.
I disagree with one of the things that you guys say, where you call Kauffman Stadium or the new proposed stadium idea to be a billionaire's playground. And I understand the wording and how you were trying to communicate it, but I've been to a Royals game before. Certainly not a billionaire. I'm imagining you have also been to a Royals game before. Not a billionaire. You've been there with your family. You've taken your children. You've gone on a date there. Where I see this as a community space, the same way that I would consider a mall or a bowling alley. It is an entertainment area. I don't personally see it as a billionaire's playground.
And I see it in the sign when I walk in the K, home of the Royals. Now, if I wanted to get a home in Kansas City, I'd have to go to the bank, get a loan, pay it back with interest to build my home. So why should I have to pay for the home of the Royals with my tax dollars when John Sherman has the money to build the home of the Royals, put up for it, and make it happen? So even though we not only been to Royals games, I pay the $30 for parking, the amount for a drink. I have a great drink there, and the food is kind of pricey. So I do all those things, but when we come to talking about the home of the Royals, they should have to pay for their home and do whatever it takes to make that happen, just like I would if I were purchasing a home here in Kansas City.
Terrence, are you frustrated that you and your group are not going to be able to stop this? I mean, the city has all the necessary votes that they are going to need to get this through. Now, it is certainly within your right to oppose it. That is the American Constitution. That is your freedom. But I'm not really sure how much your opposition is going to have an effect on not seeing this thing through.
You know, I have hope that everyday Kansas Cityans and Missourians like me do have a voice. And long after this ordinance and this proposal in this stadium, this won't be the only time for us as a state, the show me state, to come together and make our voices heard. You know, my mom used to make me do things when I was little that I opposed to, you know, but I stood up and I voiced my opinion about it, and I still got, discipline or whatever the case may be. And I believe that this is not only an opportunity for the show me state, that's what we are, to come together and organize and be better, but, continue to make our voices heard. And on May 1st, at Washington Square Park, the proposed site of this new stadium, we'll be holding a rally, on May 1st, 5:30 p.m. here in Kansas City, where we invite folks to come out in numbers and, make our voices heard, let them know that we won't go silently regardless of what our elected leaders and the Royals are working on behind the scenes.
Terrence, I'll get you out of here with this last question. In the end, do you think a downtown stadium is good or bad for Kansas City?
A downtown stadium has the ability to be good. It has that ability. And if it brings to Kansas City the things that are truly beneficial, not only for the Royals, but for Kansas City as a whole, when we talk about affordable housing around the district, the good jobs that'll be not only providing in the construction of it, but that line wake after a development of sorts, and a safer city. If all the goods are delivered in a community benefits agreement, then all would be well. But we know that hasn't been the operating standard when it comes to the Royals. They left the table not in good faith, and they have showed us who they are. So we'll see, but it has the potential to be good. But we know it's currently probably on track to be not so good for the city as a whole.
Do you trust the Royals and John Sherman to make it good in your eyes?
I do not. Like I said, I've been at the table. The only time I've been at the table with a billionaire, and negotiating these things, which would seem like common sense ask. You're going to build a district in the heart of our city, and with that district, it should be affordable housing available in and around the district. It should be good jobs available that pay a good living wage and give workers the right to organize and unionize. Those are just things that seem common sense. And when they weren't delivered on in earlier proposals, I don't see them living up to the hype this time around either. So I wouldn't put much faith or trust in John Sherman or the Royals organization at this point in time.
Do you also feel that way about the city and Mayor Lucas?
Well, that's a conversation I had with my daughter, going into yesterday's gathering at City Hall, where what is the job of our local mayor and city council? It's to provide, yes, a safe city, an affordable city that has good transit, brings in good jobs, and has a good economic development. We don't want one without the other. We don't just want economic development, but we're left behind when it comes to good transit, good housing that's affordable, and good jobs brought to the community. And at this time, it seems like they're highlighting economic development and leaving the rest of us, everyday Kansas Cityans, behind when it comes to that plan and what their job truly is.
That is Terrence Wise. He is with the Missouri Workers Center, and they oppose the stadium proposal for downtown Kansas City. Terrence, happy to have you on the show today, man. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Carrington.
Absolutely. That is Terrence Wise joining us on the show. We don't have a lot of time. We are off early today because the Royals have to score one run this evening. A couple of things I want to pass in relation to the conversation we just had with Terrence Wise. Now, I think the difference is going to be that the citizens voted on this, but Kansas City approved a sales tax to help renovate Union Station, an 1/8 of a cent sales tax. They approved it. That generated about $118 million. There is currently a tax that goes to help fund the Kansas City Zoo. So if you have ever bought anything in Jackson County, whether you live in Jackson County or not, if you have bought something in Jackson or Clay County, some of the money that you paid, some of it goes directly to the zoo to keep it up. Now, I can give you an example of another project that was recently built that they used some of our money but did not ask us for. The new Morton Amphitheater. I'm sure you've heard the commercials. It's over by where Park Hill South is, around the street from where Argosy Casino is. They took $25 million of our tax dollars to help fund this new amphitheater, and they gave them $15 million in tax breaks. We can do this exact same thing with the current stadium as well, because they gave them a pretty sweetheart deal to build a soccer stadium right there along the river. Maybe this is just an antiquated way of thinking. And I don't fault Terrence Wise for feeling the way that he feels. If your logic is you should not use our tax dollars to pay for these things, the people that own these things should pay for them, and you should redirect those funds that you are using for the zoo, for the Morton Amphitheater, for Union Station, you should put those towards roads and schools. I don't think that's a bad strategy to have. I would also just say that I think this is the cost of doing business and for having things. That if you want the state-of-the-art amphitheater to get the concerts that you want to come to your city, some of that money is going to help pay for this endeavor. It is not going to be 100% privately funded. That is just not the way that America works, in my opinion. So I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with this being the case. I don't mind helping to pay towards the zoo. I don't mind helping to pay towards Union Station. I don't mind helping to pay for Morton Amphitheater. I'm sure I'll go out there for some shows. I mean, not all the shows are going to be for me, but some of them will be for me, and I'll go out there and I'll enjoy it. I just think that this is the cost of living in a major metropolitan area, is that sometimes they're going to take some of your tax dollars to pay for the things that make you a major metropolitan area. Now, I also think this is important because, as you heard in the conversation, I'm not saying that you can't go out and protest. That is in the Constitution. You have your right to go out there and peacefully protest and assimilate and voice your concerns. Your opinion doesn't matter anymore, though. As long as you can realize that and accept that, it's perfectly fine. They have everything they need to approve this. The mayor is on board, and we learned last week there are 13 city council members. They need a simple majority, so they need 7 people to approve this. They have 9 people's signature. So they don't have to ask us anymore. They have already made this determination. So I've said this ever since we found out the news. Rob, ever since you and I got the call that this was going to happen, it's over. There are no more suggestions about the stadium. Oh, well, they should put it here or they should do this. They're done with your suggestions. They're done. They don't want to hear your suggestions anymore. They're not listening anymore. They got the money that they need. They're going to build the stadium that they want. And we are going to go to the stadium, and we're also going to help them pay for it. I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be incredible. I think by the time we get the new stadium and we go down there and we see it, and it is a beautiful 75-degree day, and you see the Union Station sign lit up, and you see Liberty Memorial, and you see Union Station in the background, you will look at your wife and say, man, this is really, really cool. That's what I think is going to happen. But then we're obviously 4 or 5 years away from having that conversation.
I think Terrence's point about, hey, I'd rather money go to roads and healthcare and all those things is fine. And not wanting to pay for a stadium is fine. The problem is it's not a black or white yes or no endeavor. The city can do both. The city can improve the roads and build a stadium. It's not like because they're hoping to build a stadium, they're now just saying tough break down Grand Street. It's going to be like just Donkey Kong's racetrack on Mario Kart with potholes everywhere. Game's the game. They can do both. But I do understand and agree with this point by Terrence, and I largely disagree with him, but that's okay. I agree with this point. It does feel a little bit shady that this came to a public vote. The voters overwhelmingly said, no, you're not getting this. And then the city went around and circumvented the will of the people and said, you guys voted against this, and we know that, but too bad we're doing it anyway. That I do feel like is a little bit of poor taste, but there's nothing the citizens can do about it, and that's just the game sometimes.
Yeah, and like someone just sent this in, CDOT, the KC Current Stadium was privately funded. They got a bunch of tax breaks. They don't pay property tax for 15 years. They didn't pay sales tax on the construction materials to actually build the stadium. So just talk about savings. Yes, so we didn't give them any money, but they don't pay property tax for 15 years. You guys... We heard all the frustration about what your property tax is. Imagine what a property tax is for a stadium. They don't pay it for 15 years. They didn't have to pay any sales tax on the material that they built to build the stadium. And the city also gave them $35 million for the infrastructure and building it where they built it. So yeah, maybe they didn't pay for the actual stadium. The city of Kansas City helped the Current build that stadium. This is just what happens in America. This is what happens. So yeah, you're paying property tax on your home and the Current are not paying property tax on their home. Doesn't really seem fair. Also seems like the cost of doing business in America. Royals have a day game tomorrow. We'll be on after the game. Rob, how many runs do you think they score by the next time you and I talk?
The over-under's at 2.5.
They got 5 runs over these next 2 days. They got 5. Use them wisely. It's The Drive.
The Drive